When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, stand.
I want to say 9 of the Desk, my platform, the Rat Rave, Bitch Be Moan, all things in the company's OCW and its subsidiaries are going live today on twitch.tv/OCWFed. So if anyone's out there listening, fantastic. If not, screw your mother, I don't care. With me today, I have the legendary Hall of Famer, founder, ruler, grand poobah of the HOH
Don't mention that. That's not for this.
Okay, well, whatever. We got you, Paul Pugh, and my guest today is Keith Hendrix, a rookie on the Ambition brand and on OCW. And essentially, the reason for this podcast, and I'll keep it 100, there was some things said yesterday after a conversation on a stream regarding OCW, and I felt compelled inside my soul to take it almost to 2006, but hold it back a little bit and basically try to get to the nuggets of truth, because there's truth in certain statements, and maybe explain things to rookies that they may not know or understand, and try to get a greater picture of OCW as a whole, because we have been here since 2004, and it can be daunting for some. So I'd like to say welcome to Dan and welcome to Keith. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, pretty good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling feeling drunk.
Good. Speaking of, there we go.
It's a privilege.
Yeah, we'll see at the end of this if it's still a privilege. Okay, so we have the audio queued up, and basically I'm going to be the fat bootleg Joe Rogan, and Danny Boy is going to be my Jamie, pulling things up and pausing. I will be saying pause or stop often.
Okay, right. I've got my phone ready.
Right.
My phone's the controller. Let's do this.
Oh, good.
Cause poor man's Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, I don't know. You better tell me something interesting, because boy.
This is the first time in OCW history we've tried this live. It's all live mixed. You ready?
Yeah. So whether it works out or not. So basically, we're gonna go through, like I said, certain comments. We're gonna pause the comments. We're gonna discuss the comments, and then we'll just, we'll have room for a little bit of debate or chit chat or whatever the hell you want to call it. So, First things first, Dan. You want to fire it up, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna message the booker. Why do you keep putting? Why would they book me in a match with Mystico when I'm not working with Bourne?
Pause.
Okay, pause.
Okay.
Paused.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, so
okay, so we're really gonna break this down.
Yeah, no, we're breaking this down.
Step.
And see, and see, you should feel. Now, I'm not trying to say honor, but normally I would just go in.
I feel honored. I'm not gonna lie to you. I
would just go in and then with no report. But basically, this is what it is. The comment was, he basically said, "Why am I fighting Mystico?" Here's the fun fact: I don't book Turmoil, and I don't book Riot. What'll happen is when we get a card, sometimes I'll add a match, I'll take away a match, or I'll swap around the match. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy just had a match, right? He didn't write anything, So, in order to keep it kind of fresh, let's give him a match. But since it's on short notice because the card went out late, I might as well use Mystico's, because Mystico is, he's a good hand to have. That's the first thing, first and foremost. And second of all, he has a really good track record with getting shit done. Now, not to throw you under the bus, but you had a match with Cole Jackman, and he felt like it wasn't going to get done. And then I hopped on streaming like, "Yo, get your match done." And oddly enough, it got done that same day. So my thinking is, hey, this will be a good test for him, and it'll get done, and he'll have a match on the show. That's it. So that's how that goes. All right, continue.
Oh, continue the. Oh, you guys. Yeah, you need to let me know.
So, all right, what do you say? What do you want me to say? Unpause.
And let me know when y'all want me to let you know.
Sure, I will. Sorry.
Well, you've both talked over this. This is
fucking obnoxious.
Ooh.
Pause.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Pause after obnoxious.
Yeah, it just I don't. That's. So while we pause with the obnoxious, give me your take, Keith. Give me your take on it.
On why I thought that was obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so everything, right, at the end of the day comes down to perspective. And something I've tried to be transparent about on my stream, whether I was in that moment, I certainly know I have been at other times, is that as someone who's like been a part of like staff and been involved in EFEDs before, it's hard to keep track of, you know, all the content that's produced out. Nevertheless, the relationships, right? So I make it clear that like I don't think it's your job to police the locker room or kind of know what's going on, right? But from my perspective, trying to get started, it was sort of the deal where I had a personal issue with Damian Bourne. To be honest, it was something that I kind of let build probably for too long.
Well, he's a moron. That's the problem.
Before I really,
he's a goddamn moron.
But once I really addressed it, and what I had to do was I just like figured out I don't think OCW is gonna like necessarily step in here, right? Because I think it's a locker room situation. This is a situation amongst the boys, right?
Yeah. So didn't you just said that basically like you don't think we're supposed to police other people? So
right. So with that being in mind, not expecting you guys to step in, I just made a personal decision. Like I'm just not gonna work with them, and that can stay a personal decision until it affects business, right? And I was fine with that. It just meant I wasn't doing DMs with them. I didn't go into parties with them. It's just, hey, go about your business. I'll go about mine. And that's it. But then I was booked against him. Right?
Can I jump in and ask what he did? What caused it all?
Damian's a fucking idiot.
No, I know he's a fucking idiot, but I mean like, so as it's like a documented thing that I've got sort of issues with certain people. But kind of it always stems from something. So obviously I'm new to the situation. I don't know what happened there, so I'm kind of trying to get why people don't like each other, because as a rookie stage, it's hard to, in my head, it's hard to have like hold grudges because you don't really know anyone yet. I mean, he's probably, if he is an arsehole, then he's an arsehole, and we can sit here and say he's an arsehole. I hope he's watching the stream right now as well.
I hope so too. I mean, fuck you, but I love you, but fuck you nonetheless.
Yeah, so no basis. But it stems from.
I feel bad about like talking about somebody who's not here to defend himself. And
so it is something that happened in. It doesn't. I don't need to go into specifics. Just like
from my it was personal, interpersonal contact that I just felt went like outside the lines. And okay, so let me pick up the story, right?
Okay.
So that was when I decided I had to say something because I wasn't comfortable doing the match at all at that point.
Okay.
And I was told, because I had made it known to the group where I was at too, because I wanted the other members of the group that we play with to understand that what happened. And they were around when it happened, so it wasn't like a shock to everybody, but I was like, I want them to know, hey, there's a reason I'm not accepting your parties. It's not that I'm not trying to play with you guys, whatever. So they kind of knew what was up. So I was advised by another member of the roster to talk to Jay. Like, you need to run this up the ladder at this point. Okay. So I said something to Jay, and Jay said, I don't book Turmoil, talk to Notorious, I guess, right? Is the Turmoil booker.
Okay.
So,
yes.
So I had the conversation about it with Notorious at that time. Now, from my honest perspective, I felt like it was met with kind of like, if I'm trying to be like, put myself in somebody else's shoes, maybe just a little bit of like, I don't really know what's up with you guys. I kind of don't want to deal with this, but what do I need to do? It wasn't like, I felt like he wasn't really trying to like figure this out or get involved. He was just trying to figure out like, what do I have to do to like make this okay for the card or whatever, right? And
yeah, that's what he would do.
Right, but that's what he do, right? He's trying to book the card, exactly. And I think the deal at the time was something like, well, let's replace me in the match with one of the other members of my stable, like with Skeleton or with the T.Y. Sparks or with Alex Asher, right? And I'm thinking, okay, I know that's like a super convenient move, but it seems a little weird. Like if I just told you I'm not going to be able to work with Damian, it seems a little weird to then just swap me out of the match with somebody else that's in my group, because again, like, where's that gonna go? And again, I'm not knowing the history and the inner workings of the OCW. I'm just thinking, that's a little weird. Seems like you're, kind of just brushing this aside. And okay, how do we quickly swap out and do something that we can get away with? Instead of like, if it were me at that point, it seems like, okay, I'm at least going to go in the direction of these two groups aren't going to work together right now. So I thought that was a little weird, but I let it go because, again, I was out of the match, and that was what I felt I needed at that time.
Well, I look at it like this: the fact of the matter is for lack of a better word, we try not to give a fuck about like personal feelings because, for example, Dan or rather Pugh has fought people in championship matches that he loathes on a personal level. Like what was the thing you said? I would not piss on him if he was on fire or something like that. Or wouldn't use your piss?
No,
what was
yeah.
it?
Oh yeah, I don't know. But
something like it was something along the lines of I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. And these are people that he had to fight. So when it comes to interpersonal issues, I really try not to give a fuck because at the end of the day, we got to be adults and we got to get to it. But that being said, the simple solution in that situation is like, all right, fuck it, just have his mans fight for the simple reason that, they're always fighting anyway, like in DMs. So it makes never mind. I think the disconnect with you is the fact that you assume that every match is handcrafted as a reason. This is not a sim fed. So a lot of times, and we'll probably go through this later on because there's a lot more to cover.
Sure.
The fact that not every match is this contained story, right and wrong. Like a lot of times it's just like, yo, we need this guy, we need that guy. So let's have a match, let's get it on. And if it's good, cool, we can work with it. If not, a match happened, then keep it moving. That's the issue.
Yeah,
that's the disconnect.
I think
so.
You absolutely hit on it because I, being a rookie, in my experience prior to this Fed being a text-based role play Fed, and then doing sim Feds on my channel, was in that mindset. And I'm thinking, well, they're talking to me about not writing. Writing to me is crafting meaningful stories about what my wrestler's doing. And that was actually the basis of my unwillingness. It was like, if I decide I'm not going to work with somebody, I can't work with you. So I can't do a match with you because then I can't do promos around that match. Like it was that whole disconnect. Like to me, I didn't see it that way. I just saw it as, how am I going to get started if the way I'm being booked is nothing for me to write around?
Yeah.
And
that's something that when I was watching you stream, I basically saw that you kind of, I think, this is a question I'm going to ask you. Do you expect that the bookers are going to book you into feuds? Is that sort of something that you kind of think is going to? No, I don't think that's my expectation so much as I think they probably, my expectation is not knowing, like if I'm putting myself in a booker's shoes, I would book things that I would book things that I know history, right? There's a lot of stuff in OCW where it's easy to book because the history or why it makes sense for those two guys to be fighting. But when you're with rookies, I think you're just kind of tossing them in here and there and kind of seeing what happens. Yeah,
sticks. But from our perspective, it's also kind of a little bit defensive. Like I think it's hard to get over in OCW, but easy to be forgotten about.
Absolutely.
And if you're trying to get over a new wrestler that is your whole OCW world revolves around, and you realize you're at the bottom of the rung, and if they don't like your first couple promos and your first couple matches aren't anything to write home about, you might be fighting up a mountain just to get us to care again. And so it feels like without having more experience, like you've got to make it count because your first impression on all of those things, like even if you look at the first promo video I did, you can tell I put a lot of time into it because I was only going to ever get to make one first promo.
So there's two ways to look at it from my point of view. You can be a person who shows up every single week and just promos about nothing. I personally don't like that. I personally hate when somebody just shows up and they're just there for the sake of being there. Or you can kind of take like the bull by the horns. Obviously, you've come in. How many guys are in your group? 3, did you say? So there's 4 of you all together.
There's 4 of them. I think 4 total. He just got booked.
5 of us.
All right, fuck it, 5.
Okay.
Wait, are you talking about my stable? Or
The stable as a whole, like the actual kayfabe stable.
3 of us.
Okay, so there's 3 of you guys that are kind of off limits to other places, but between yourselves, you can build yourselves as a stable. that makes sense to do if you've not got anything going on. You're not going to get a feud where you're 3 versus 3. That's not going to happen at the moment, probably. I mean, the only way that would happen is if you feuded with like, Mystical Born and what's the other one called? Is there 3 of them? Or is it just the 2 of them?
It's basically Mystical Born and Benji to some extent.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. So ignore them.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, work then. So the obvious thing to do then is just build yourselves up and keep doing just keep kind of working. Keep kind of making yourself noticeable. So I don't know how much the booker watches the show, because I would imagine he watches everything, but I don't know who the booker is. So
Saturday and Sunday. Oh wait, you mean I thought you were talking about Riot. That's Saturday and Sunday for Kent. For Lee, I'm assuming probably on Saturday. I'm probably assuming on Sunday for him.
So I don't know how au fait he is with new rookies. I don't know how like in the track, because
it's really hard. I always just so you guys know, I never plan to leave it up to bookers. I always I've talked to people in Discord and you talk to people, you're doing different DMs, and so people are always. I have had a couple people actually approach me. Hey, you interested in doing a story or doing different things?
Yeah.
So I think that's always the way I would go about it, and then present that to the booker, right? Like,
that's absolutely. That's like a little.
We kind of thought we'd do something.
That's an OCW hack that a lot of people don't get right at the start. If you ask the booker to book something, 9 times out of 10 he will book that match for you. And that's not to say that he'll book you in a title match or anything, but if it's a kind of something that's building your storyline, then he will go out of his way to book it for you. And that's just kind of go on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And being that it's competitive, like you have to also adapt to whether you get your ass whooped or whether you triumph. Like you can't be like, oh well, this week, we're gonna fight and I'm gonna win, and then next week you're gonna win, and then we'll get a pay-per-view match and that'll be the blow off. That's not a fucking shit that works. You gotta either, you gotta roll with the punches now, so that we don't kind of just, because we got still more stuff to cover in regards to the Mystical situation. Sure. When it comes, if you got issues with stupid face, that's fine. I don't, whatever, which was abided by. But then you're like, oh, Mystical lumping another person in, which at that point, that's an issue. That it's like, come on, son. Because you don't have to work a program with every person you feud with every week. You can just go, hey, whatever I'm pressing today, and that's it. For example, your debut, there was a bunch of questions that no one had answers to because no one has only saw that one video before, and then this match. That's it. There's questions people don't have the answers to them because there's not even like 4 lines of text to explain what's going on.
Sure.
Dan, hit the play button.
And I'm also going to be probably long-winded with, not long-winded, but the answers aren't coming quickly because the nature of the character, he's those.
Well, there got to be some leeway.
Sure.
Dan, hit the play button, sir.
Here we go.
I'm not telling them to replace me with you either. I'm telling them to put us in matches with people we can build stories with. Because Jay just criticized me for not role playing, and it's like, stop putting me in fucking matches I can't build stories out of, and I'll role play.
Pause.
I got the pause straight away there. I knew where that was.
Thank you. I think we touched on it to begin with. You can either present something or you can do your fucking match. That's the issue. We're not a sim fit. We can't say, oh hey, we're gonna take this guy and then we're gonna take Court and then we're gonna fucking they're gonna build this feud, and it doesn't happen. You know why? I would say I would give you examples, but if I give you examples, you're gonna look at me like a puppy dog that's lost because you don't really watch too much of the content. So you can be like, oh shit, what the fuck? And then you have to find out to where to look and And I'm not gonna put that all on you, but you can't say this about story, that about story, and then not even know that you've been here. I'm gonna say what, September? Maybe is it September or
came off season? Yeah.
Yeah, so you came in the off season. So within all that time, there's been so many windows of opportunity to either world build or ask questions if you're lost or anything. Because I'm aware that it is daunting as fuck to be here. It is there's so many nuances and little things that people that are not written. There's little unwritten rules. There's all kinds of crazy shit that no one's gonna know. But you know what? You can take the time to go into one of the 2 little discords where they don't attack you like sharks and be like, hey, I'm a little confused about this. When you asked me like maybe a month and a half ago, where are the shows? I almost fell out of my desk. Like, it's like, really? Like, you don't, they're posted, when we have a show, there's an ad on the Discord, and then there's on the site, there's like 4 different places on the site where you can actually click to watch an actual show.
No, I've seen the shows. That was an issue. I was confused about the commentary presentation, right? And so I was trying to figure out why when I would go to look for the shows or watch the shows, I wouldn't hear commentary. But then when I had asked some of the people in the locker room about doing commentary. They're like, well, Jay does all the commentary. Jay does the commentary for all the shows. So then I was like, well, apparently I'm not looking at the right thing. And that's when I got in the whole, again, then I was schooled right onto, oh, well, you know, you do commentary when you do the live streams, and then
or unless it's a produced show. If it's a produced show like Devil's Night, which, you know, shout out to Jake and Kramer, or like Ladies Night, Court, Jake and Kramer, and myself. Like, not every show is produced, but most of them. What we try to do now is the main event. We try to have you know, commentary over it. So
right.
that's why.
Let's come back to this when we get to my time to ask you about something.
Oh, you go. I'm sure you have many questions. You have many questions, but you know, so that's where it comes down to. Not every match on any fucking throwaway show is supposed to be, you know, built up. Like, basically, if you have a match with someone you don't really give a shit about, you know, I'm with Jim Black. You can look that up who that is. You're with Jim Black, interview guy, and be like, today I'm fighting so and so. He stinks and I don't like him. Boom. You're fucking done. And you can put that however you want to put it, as verbose, as elaborate, as simple, however you want to put it, you can put it. And that what that does to the booker is that says, oh shit, all right, cool. He's writing. Could. That stays in your mind, that stays in people's head, because the easiest way to get lost is by not doing anything. And that's what we have a lot of rookies not doing shit, which we'll go to another point as we move on. So hit the play button, sir.
Oh, yep, I'm on it. I was scratching my eye. I wasn't really on it.
Like, I'm not going to work with Mystico if I'm not going to work with Bourne. It doesn't make sense to put Sparks or Vaughn in a match with Mystico or Bourne, because you're basically creating a non-starter. You're creating.
Okay, got it.
I don't know who those two people are. Is that Asher? Who's the other one?
Sparks.
Asher and
All
Sparks.
right, Sparks. I know Sparks had the match, and Asher. I remember they had the leather jackets. Now I would know more if, you know, they only booked like twice. So again, this is like the whole thing before with the non-starter stuff. The reason they should actually fight together is because they always actually fight offline. So if you have rapport with somebody, that's the easiest way to get something cooking. And as I mentioned yesterday, the tag division on PS4 is not exactly the thickest of thieves. Like, there's you know, there's certain people, and there's also other considerations that are concessed in booking, which I'll get into shortly.
Did you just say concessed?
Yeah, I made up a word. Fuck you.
Cool.
Hit play.
Hit play again.
Go ahead.
Got it.
You're creating a match that has the potential to go nowhere. Like, oh God, if you're gonna be a booker, please book. Please know how to book wrestling.
Well, that was the bit that got me when I saw it as well.
Mm-hmm. So here's the funny thing about that. Once again, I only book pay-per-views for the most part, and as I said previously, I only put in little bits and bobs according to, you know, what people have sent me, if anything. But usually they're supposed to send it to the booker, and the booker lets me know. So when it comes to booking, this is not again, I gotta repeat it. It's not a SimFed. It's not universe mode. It's competitive and it's online. So here's a short primer that I thought about while I was taking a shit before we started. We have 7 to 8 different time zones, and that goes from Scotland to Italy to France.
Why do you think Scotland's in a? Let me
I don't care.
UK.
Shut up.
It goes from the west coast of America all the way to Australia.
Yes, there you go, to Australia, and in between. So you have that, coupled with what I call the reliability factor. Oh, hey, we have 3 days to do a match. Who can I trust to get a fucking match done? That's the other thing. And then B, we have people who are very fighty. Oh, this guy works today. Shit, he can't get his match done. There was a match that couldn't be done for Riot because one guy is from Scotland and one guy is working most of the time and he's from the East Coast, so it couldn't get done. So there's all these concessions that have to be made each and every fucking week in order to get a show out, especially with people involved. So you have to take into all of that into consideration, not just, oh, I'm just going to book this and this. I can book whatever cool match I want, but you know what? Unless I give these motherfuckers 3-4 weeks to get it done, it's not going to get it done in a timely fashion just because of the nature of people with their jobs and everything in between. So when someone says, I know how to fucking book, I take offense to it. Just a tiny bit. And I'm not even a fucking booker.
It's not you booking.
It's just shit like...
I really honestly was trying. It was a wrestling conversation. I was literally critiquing the booking decision, and I'll get into it. But yeah, I didn't. First of all, at that point when I said that, I didn't even. I don't even know if I knew you had booked the match, right? Because
No, you knew that the match was booked because someone told you.
no,
And the
no,
only
I'm
reason why
saying-
is
but
because
I'm
someone
saying,
told me this. And I
I'm
was like,
ranting
oh.
about the booker. I don't even know that. I think, am I ranting about you? Or am I,
No, you didn't even know who the booker was, which is the
exactly,
other
I know
thing,
who the
which
booker
I
was.
don't know if that's our fault for maybe not listening properly. I usually think that that's common knowledge, but again, I could be wrong, or if it's your fault for not knowing, I don't know
We're
whose fault that is.
We're gonna get to it.
I don't know whose fault that is. So that's the other thing. Like when you don't know who the fucking booker is, it's like, okay, so how the hell are you supposed to have, elaborate views and this, that, and the third when, you don't even know offhand who the booker is? That's okay. That's strange. But
The secret booker thing has always bothered me.
Very strange.
the secret booker, what?
The secret booker thing is so basically. This is something I don't know where I stand kind of between you two guys on this. I've always thought it was stupid to have a person who's kind of like, because you used to try and you spent a lot of time trying to protect who the booker's identity was back in the olden days.
Yeah, in the olden days.
Yeah, it wasn't required because it's easier to have a conversation with somebody you know than a faceless person. So so here's a suggestion that I'm going to make, because obviously Keith didn't know the situation in terms of actually being able to book stuff. So have the booker reach out to the person and be like, yo, I book the shows. If you need anything, let me know. That's the end of it. Like booking wise. I don't mean like, do you need your ass wiping? Do you need me to like heat up your temperature of your bottle or whatever? Nothing babyish, just a sense of, this is who I am. If you need a match, then speak to me about it and we'll see what we can do for you. That's all they need. That's literally all they need.
Pretty much.
Because then the person sort of, I'm guessing, I don't know, I don't want to speak on your behalf there, Keith, but I think that would have given you kind of like, you would have known exactly who to go to and be like, because you expect a certain level of they know what they're doing. That's a given, because obviously OCW's been around for 15 years. So you expect that somebody knows what they're doing at some point. And they do know what they're doing, but sometimes with new people, they need pushing in the right direction. Is my example.
I mean, I was gonna. So I was, like I said, I felt bad because I feel like a lot of this really is about Damien, and he's not here to defend himself. But
fuck Damien.
Don't let a rookie ruin your life.
All right, really? I don't know.
All right, no. I'm just saying in the history to even relay the story, right? Okay, but let me go into it like this. The issue I had was not, oh, I just don't like this person, I don't want to fight him. I felt like there was plenty of that. Like there's plenty of Damien Bourne. Like, okay, so let me tell you this. The other two members of my group are young.
Okay.
Meaning they're not adults. I think Vaughn, I get the impression he's a high school kid, and I think Skeleton is, I remember Skeleton we had a whole issue with his application, right? If he was even old enough, right? Because
okay.
Well, the thing is, Damien's also a dumb child, so.
You're right. So one of the things that used to irritate me was he was constantly undermining our ideas.
He's a dumb child. Tell him to go fuck himself.
Oh, ideas in what sense? Like,
just like creative ideas. Oh, we think this would be a cool story. We think, it'd be cool if our stable went in this direction. Or Asher talking about what if I did this thing where I went around super kicking everybody backstage, like whatever it was, right? It felt like a little bit like, one, hey dude, like I get maybe you're trying to be constructive, but like it just felt like our ideas were constantly being buried before they had any life, and I felt like my own group, like it was almost like I felt like Damien was trying to make the experience not a cool thing for them to even have fun with or want to be a part of before we ever debuted.
Okay.
I don't even know what the experience is.
So what I would say to that
That's
is
the name of the stable.
Okay,
Read my application.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what I would say to that is fuck Damien Bourne, because Damien Bourne has been here for
No,
maybe
let me
one
finish.
cup more
So
coffee than you have.
So that was really type irritating. Okay, then I got this notion that he was some sort of great F.P.R hand, when actually I felt like it was more of a bully. Like we would do DMs with him all the time, and it was like if we did something that we didn't understand the F.P.R, if we violated F.P.R or whatever, it's like they then had to violate F.P.R to get it back or whatever, and then sometimes they would just outright violate F.P.R because, and when it was left up to their interpretation, it was more realistic or it made the match look better. And then sometimes they violate F.P.R just because like we pissed them off, or Damien didn't like my attire. right?
Really?
So yeah, really. So
then when it comes to FPR, you can chime in on this shit because when it comes to FPR, I know nothing. Go ahead.
No, keep going. Keep going. What you saying?
So it was just this whole notion that these are good. It was like it actually became. I didn't feel it was a good way to learn FPR. Like again, I'm not an FPR master, but a lot of people come to my channel who are interested in OCW and they get interested because of the universe on my channel, and I try to teach them FPR and I read FPR to them. We use it in our online matches, and we're really cool about it. If somebody messed something up, we're just like, oh hey, no worries.
That's how it should always be in OCW.
And it got to a point where I wasn't having fun on the game. Like people can tell you in matches, I literally got to a point where I would just put my controller down and I would say, just pin me. I don't want it. I just want this match to be over so I can end this experience. And I'm having that experience day after day, like pretty much every time I feel like I'm playing with this guy, and he knows I'm on stream. So there's a camera in my face.
Okay.
So at some point I'm making a decision like, yo, it's not good for me to be triggered like this all the time on camera.
Okay.
Also, I'm bipolar, right? So that factors in. Now you can probably think, oh yeah, light bulb goes off about my whole rant and everything, right? But I made that clear in that group, and he said some things that were insensitive about my condition. Literally, I got mad at him one time when we were in the middle of a match, and I kind of went off like telling him like, yo, I'm not gonna take this anymore. And there's, this must be your bipolar side.
Okay. Well, that's bullshit anyway. So that's
and that's on top of repeated racially insensitive comments that he would just make all the time, like referring to the New Day as Coon Day and stuff like that. After I told him I was a fan, like just, and again, then I heard, oh well, I'm black. So as a black, so you're black, I'm black. Who cares? I mean, you can't offend me. I can't be offended. Like it just, and again, this is out of
that's personal
hostile
shit.
work environment, right? This is not that I'm going there. Like, and I said, none of you us are PR experts, and I don't expect you to police the locker room. But this isn't, I'm gonna turn this into money. We started there. When I first joined OCW, and he kind of thought he had my character figured out, which he didn't, of course. But he was all, oh, you're a cartoon, and blah 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 blah. So we kind of played on it. Like me and Skeleton made cartoon outfits. I made a Batman costume. Skeleton made a Spider-Man costume. We wrestled them in those. We made Damian Bourne and Mystico outfits. So we were trying to say like, oh, if they're gonna clown us and treat us like, we're cartoons or whatever, let's take it and run with it and be pro wrestling about it, and this could be money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when it went to all that other stuff, it was just like, nope. Literally got to the point that I brought it up in group therapy, and I said, no, sorry, this.
No.
So that
okay.
Was when
if it makes you feel any better, right now he's getting his ass handed to him.
Let me go two different ways of this. The FPR stuff, and the FPR stuff and the personal stuff, two separate things entirely. We complete the FPR stuff. If he's breaking FPR in matches and DMs and stuff, you're well within your rights to say, fuck you, I don't care about you, let me play with somebody else. And that's fine. That's something that's happened historically in OCW. You don't have to feel like you have to play these people. And if they're going to break FPR, then maybe they shouldn't be booked in the first place. I don't know how FPR is policed anymore because I don't do it anymore. When I did do it, people would get lit the fuck up. Okay, so you tell me how FPR is policed, because I don't know, Jay. Both of you.
As far as I know, basically, if there's a complaint, it goes up the ladder to Spooter and then Nate.
Because I only bring this up because I've had a couple of, obviously we've been doing Ambition, we've been receiving matches, we've been talking to people and stuff for Ambition, and I've heard a couple of people say people are breaking FPR. Now, if people are breaking FPR, that means an automatic redo, and so you don't break FPR. There is no grey area in FPR.
Here's the issue I have with FPR. I don't think anybody. And I'm not gonna say anybody. I don't think any reasonable person, like in the realm of people who really are serious about this, are out there trying to break FPR.
No.
Right. So my impression is, if
unless you're Maxwell.
Yeah, for the most part, my impression is if somebody breaks FPR, maybe it was a cognitive slip, like they weren't paying attention or they were triggered or whatever. But for the most part, you think it's probably they didn't know the rule or they lack clarity, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
And my experience as a rookie is that you come in. And again, I haven't been around for 14 years in history, but I'm in a lot of other gaming crews. Let me give you an example. I'm in a motorcycle club, and we deal with the same thing. We have a big group. Not everybody's on, different time zones, different ages, all that. If something is voted on as a change to a rule, the secretary changes and updates the rule before that meeting ends, so that there is never a time that you will go to see what our rules are and you will not have a complete set of the rules.
Yeah, that makes sense.
seems to happen in OCW is we say it's in the handbook, it's in the handbook, it's in the handbook. And yes, the key elements are in the handbook, the big ones, you know, red, yellow, and hit a finisher before you pin, and you know, sort of the flow chart, which all that stuff, by the way, is fucking amazing, right? Like the level of organization that OCW has and the level of thought that's gone into all that stuff is absolutely incredible. So let me say that first, right? Because I don't want to critique something and people be like, yo, he's shitting on it. He doesn't know how much it took, how much of our souls it took to get it to that point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what seems to happen after that is that there's all this other nuanced stuff.
Yes.
Stuff like the new one for me that I just heard was you can only use early recovery once.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, where did that come from? And I was told Jay went into it on a podcast.
Yeah, that isn't helpful.
Okay, cool. So then I went to check the handbook, and of course that's not updated, right? So to me, it's just really important that things end up in the handbook, and somebody should have gone, oh, Jay just put new F.P.R thing, let's just put that in the handbook real quick. And if we made that, and I think when I talked to Jay a little about this, I was kind of getting ambiguous. I don't think I said this explicitly, but I called it a little bit of an IT tweak that would work. I call it IT workflow tweak or something like that, but that's what I was referring to, that there shouldn't be this.
Yeah, so not to cut you off, but there's loads of people in the chat saying they've never heard of that rule as well.
Yeah.
So you've said it somewhere, Jay, and and people have heard it, but
it might have been on an old before the thing started. Maybe the what you call it, the speculation thread. But the only one that's limited is Brazil, and that's the one where you know, only champs have it anyway. And they can only use it once.
Yeah, they can only physically use it once. So what we
See,
need to do out of this.
No, wait. Before that, the other issue with the nuance of F.P.R is for the simple fact that a long time ago I linked one of the original handbooks, and it was fucking stupid. It was
horrifying. The original handbook,
like 25 pages. So the reason that we keep it like this is for the simple fucking. Even this, when people look at this, like, oh my god, words.
Yeah, I know.
I hate words.
It's daunting. Yeah.
So that's why we keep it simple, and that's why we always put the rule under ethics, and we always tell people don't be a dick, so that when stupid shit happens, we go, hey, that's stupid, don't do it. And sometimes someone will say, oh, it's not that stupid, and then we will have a discussion over it. But then for the most part, what will happen is if something's really egregious, then in the next game we'll cover it. We did it with a bunch of other things. It might not be ideal, but it's only done that way because the nature of the competitive beast and the nature of certain things. But at the end of the day, it always boils down to don't be a fucking dick. That's it. So like if you think something's kind of shady, don't do it. If someone does it to you, you bring it up, and then we have a discussion about it. That's why, because I'm not trying to put in all kinds of fucking rules for this. If tag matches did this, then do that. Only if this, I'm not doing that because that's a headache for people.
But they do exist. They do exist on like the undercurrent, though. They do exist there.
Those are the rules, and then you feel like, okay, here's another thing. You feel like there's skill gap in this game, right? Yeah. Like one thing I'll be the first to tell you, Damian Bourne and Mystico are way better at this than we are.
Can we stop talking about fucking Damian?
No. I'm bringing it up because you brought them up to me as like, oh, you guys are gonna learn good F.P.R from.
I never said that, but the point I said is about Damian is about Mystico is that basically he's basic. You know, if you don't want to fight one dude and because he's a fucking a dingbat, that's whatever. I don't care. It is what it is. But they'd be like, oh, his partner too. Like these people don't have when it comes to the
they do act like a hive mind though when they're around Discord and stuff. They do.
Sure. But I'm saying when an actual match takes place, there's nothing ever egregious. That's the issue. Now if there's stuff going on behind the scenes where someone's trying to flex their fucking muscles and excuse me. My thing is like, yo, if you a dick, get out of here. Don't, I wouldn't put up with it. That's basically that's my take on it. But back to the whole F.P.R thing, there's nuance and there's gray area, and a lot of that isn't listed just because if it was, the handbook would be 17 extra pages. Now, we don't expect you as rookies to know all of these weird nuance and gray area things. That's why we simplified it as much as possible. Now, if someone's using those simplified rules and trying to skirt around, you know what happens? When we watch the match, someone says, yo, what the fuck? And then we confront that person. They go into a corner and go, and then, they know not to do it anymore. That's basically how it's always worked. when it comes to FPR, because the alternative is to do the whole thing that I say, where you list every small nuance, every bit of gray area, every little bit of horse shit, this, that, and the third, all these if and statements, and then you know what happens? It happens where I always go, this is why we can't have fucking nice things because of this shit. I'm not trying to micromanage every fucking match.
But you'll grow into...
Everybody here should know how to have every fucking match. That's why we say every fucking time, hey, go look at a main event. That's how you're supposed to do it. Go look at the main event. We tell this to people every time. Go look at the main event. And half the people go, what main event? What? Oh, fuck. Watch a main event. Do that.
You do grow into FPR. Like, FPR is something that becomes like second nature to you. But what I wanted to address was, that doesn't happen by playing the same people who are breaking FPR constantly in DMs. Because that's...
It's not even... And I want to make the issue clear. My issue is not that other people were breaking FPR. My issue is that that whole breaking FPR thing, to me, that felt like they were doing some sort of like old school enforcement type thing that just felt...
But they've been here 2 minutes. They shouldn't be enforcing anything. They should be enforcing...
Fucking Art over here.
All right. But yeah, I mean, that's what that felt like that was about.
Yeah,
but my point is more to say that there's an information gap where I'm now supposed to be an OCW talent, and I don't know what all the rules are, and that makes it difficult for me to spread the culture, right? Part of my thing is we have to like always say, is this good enough, or is this what we should be doing in 2019? Yes, what we've done has gotten us through the past 14 years, but will it get us through the next 5? And in 2019, it just feels like you should be able to go to, okay, I just did my OCW application, I just read over the rules, maybe there's an abbreviated set of the rules, but then somewhere it says for a complete set of rules, go here, because there has to become a point where there's an official handbook or an official FPR guide. If it's in the guide, that's the rule. And if it's not in the guide, it's not a rule. But what you get now is a sort of, 2 years ago it was this, and then they changed it. No, I heard they changed it back. No, Jay said it was there. And then the side of the handbook is silent on it. And so that just to me feels like
it does. And just speaking from my experience, so the last time I was active, like full season, was 2016. So I've come back and fought matches every now and then. I don't know FPR. I genuinely do not know. Things are happening in matches and people are going, oh, you broke FPR, this happened. And I'm like, I know what FPR kind of is, but then you go to the handbook, exactly like you've said, and it says, have good ethics. I can't remember the exact quote. Let me find the quote really, really quick. But they always say ethics. And people have different ethics. Like, to you, Jay, something that, like, to me, I'm more than happy stealing from somebody. You might not be. Like, somebody might be happy killing somebody, nobody else is. It's just stupid stuff. That's as broad as ethics can be. Ethics can be as simple as, I think this is okay to stomp on you 3 times. I think this is okay to stomp on you 1 time. Ethics is so broad that it doesn't actually help anyone when they're trying to learn the rules. And that's a stupid thing. It's a stupid example on our part, because it's been there for a long time. It's basically ethics applies to anything that we can't be asked to legislate for. And that's not a good idea. Because the more stuff that you say ethics about, the less easy it is for somebody like Keith to come in and understand exactly what the rules are. Like, there are little stupid, shitty things. Like, spamming, what's spamming? Because in the subject of, me and Spider had a match a couple of days ago, and basically what happened in it was we only did chops. The only move that happened in the match was a chop. And that's spamming according to the rules, but that's not spamming according to wrestling. Because if you want to have a wrestling match where just chops happen, then you can have a wrestling match where just chops happen. And we didn't break any FPR rules, but the only thing that happened throughout was chops. And that's it. So that is in violation of your FPR rules based on the fact that it says spamming, doesn't refer to what spamming is, and ethics, we don't know what ethics are.
Kid just told you to shut the fuck up.
Cass doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, not Cass,
Ken. No, it's true. It's absolutely true. Like, it is true.
Shut it down.
Yeah, the videos never got done. Exactly. That's true. The videos never got done for the FPR videos, and
I mean, there could be an appendix done for.
No, there could be a full 100-page essay on what FPR is. That's what you need. You don't need it.
My plan was I was just gonna do it. I was honestly just gonna drug through the locker room as much as I can and get everybody to like just tell me all the F.P.R rules and then I was gonna try to make it public. I just felt like it'd be a public service because
Well,
I
yeah,
think
good luck with that.
I
There's
think
a
here's
lot.
the deal.
but Jay,
If anyone tells you a rule that's not in the handbook,
No, why is he
it's not a fucking
jumping?
rule.
How did he just jump in here?
Oh, he's using executive powers. What was that, Cass? Special guest.
But if anyone tells you there's a rule, it's not in the handbook, then it's not a fucking rule. They just need to shut the fuck up. And if you need clarification, you come to someone like myself or Kent or Quartz or Fighter.
Hey,
You just said the same people. But we need an actual handbook. We need a written handbook.
Yeah, that's what
It
I'm
is
saying.
there.
That's-
To me, there is no hidden rules. People
I
bring
don't
up
agree with that.
hearsay as a rule, and it's not a fucking rule.
But one person getting hearsay passed to another person, they then pass it on to the next person, and suddenly you've got
Exactly.
5 or 6 people playing the same way.
Check and it's not there, then they're wrong, and they just need to shut the fuck up.
When was the last time
So
somebody
there's
actually read the
there's no
handbook?
rule about having
The
one
start of the
every
season.
summer. That's not a rule then.
There's no. Sorry, go on,
There'd
Keith.
be a lot of things that aren't rules if that's the case. A lot of things would just be not rules.
Like what?
Hang on, 2
just name
seconds.
one.
Let me just go through the. Let me go through.
I
the
didn't hear
handbook.
you.
The early recovery, anything that's not explicitly on the handbook,
It's
right?
not a
the whole
rule.
Thing, so the whole thing about early recovery wouldn't be a rule.
Nope, it was a discussion we had on a podcast. Never got officially added. I suggested when you roll out and to make it more dramatic that it can only be used once. Most of the time, you don't need to use it.
Oh,
at
I
the
remember
beginning
that
of a
was the
match.
shit. Yeah, we
Yeah,
tested it.
I brought it up.
Side by
It was
that, I heard.
never a rule.
See, it wasn't presented. It was like this is a
Yeah,
rule.
some people have taken that to be a rule.
It is a rule.
It is not.
No,
So-
that's people not listening. That's the issue.
I also
Right.
brought up the thing about not having pickup finisher as a rule. It's still there. It's still a rule. So what I said is just a conversation. It was not a rule. Nothing got passed. What's in the handbook is the rules.
So we're completely on the same page about this.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just reading through it now, and
Thank you for the cameo, Cass. Can you please set it back to 3?
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Bye.
okay, cool.
Fucking Cass with the assist.
How did he jump in there?
All right. Can I address the whole booking thing too?
Yes.
Yeah, fuck it. Well, it might have to come towards the end though because we still have more stuff. to cover.
We might be here all day. Let me just play this.
Shit ever.
Okay.
You don't go, oh, DX and the Nation of Domination won't work with each other. Here, let's book Farouk versus Triple
That's
H.
more of the same thing.
Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So we don't need that part. Just keep it going. Just talk amongst yourselves while I find the next
Keep
bit.
it, no, I'm keep. Oh,
Oh,
you're
okay.
skipping
All right. So
around.
here's my issue with that. Let me tell you the history so you can actually understand what I was.
Okay.
So I've now had this issue, right? And now I've explained to you, right? And you now understand why I'm saying that this is not like a petty wrestling thing, right? This is like a really I don't want to be around this person.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Now to be honest, what happened after that was disappointing to me. I don't know what I expected to happen, but what I felt like happened was everybody just kept playing. Like my group of friends kept just playing with Damian Bourne like nothing had happened, which hurt my feelings
Okay.
because people ask me, "Oh, why don't you just come join the party with us? You can mute them." Like, no, like, come on, like, I'm 32, I'm not gonna do that. Like, and then, so that kind of like didn't set well with me, right? But I'm dealing with that, and then eventually, people in that playing group start to ask if I flaked out, and I'm like, well, wait. Now why am I being accused of flaking out? Because you know what I'm saying? Somebody made me feel unwelcome here. Then I was told that he had a prior history of this. This is before I'd ever talked to Jay about it. I was told he had a prior
All right,
history.
what is this guy's name? I don't even remember who this guy
didn't like
is.
him.
Let me see.
Also, we're
Mix, the
moving away.
Queen, Mask,
So now I'm like,
ACS,
not really true,
Jackman,
though.
Asher,
Maybe not be
Regal,
true, but that's what I was
Mateo.
told. Right? Again, I'm a little
It's a spider,
wide-eyed
it's not a
rookie,
spider.
just listening to all the
It's
people
not
who were
Spider,
supposed to
it's
know,
Rex.
right?
Yeah, Bochin Chandas. Okay, continue.
So
It's notorious. Here we go.
said something.
I gotta like
about it,
spell it
and
out for
I-
this guy. My tag team is called the Heartbreakers.
You would then explain to me that you didn't book Turmoil.
Spell it out for this guy. My tag team is called the Heart.
So I tell
Notorious,
Notorious
here
what
we
happens,
go.
right? Like I literally went into the whole thing with him, so he understood exactly why I didn't want to work with this person.
I gotta like spell it out.
So at that point, to be honest with you, I felt like it had that I was discussing something that was serious to me, and I guess maybe it's less serious to me now, or I don't know, maybe like all the different conversations I've had with you have made me feel differently about it, Jay. But at the time, I really felt like that was just like kind of blatantly inappropriate. Like we're a young group, we're trying to get going. I've made it clear that this dude's gone like way too far, and I feel like he should really be disciplined for it. And instead, you're just like, we'll just put him with your teammates. And so anyway, that happened. Like you said, I did the match with Coach Jackman. My first match with Coach Jackman got rejected. So, again, no big deal, but...
Why did it get rejected?
It got rejected because I accidentally hit the pause button in the middle of the match.
Okay.
And I thought it made it look stupid, and I didn't want my debut match to look dumb. I also hit one of my taunts accidentally. And like there's a taunt I like to do where I pout. I do like the temper tantrum taunt.
Okay.
I hit it once where I won it, but I accidentally hit it a different time too. And Code was like, yo, I've been working on a feud with so-and-so. I could kind of like work that into it there or whatever. So he put together and did that. I spent a lot of time editing my entrance. Like I spent a few hours that night editing my entrance because I wanted my entrance to look so cool and have all the social media buzz and stuff I've added to my entrance. So put all that time in, and then the match got rejected. I was like, okay.
But Jay,
I'm glad I didn't
Spooder rejected the match.
Yeah,
why?
That and the name. I changed my name.
The editing was the first thing, but no one really gave a fuck about the edit once it was like, oh, that's not a big deal. The issue was that the call that was used wasn't the call that was online.
Yeah,
and the reason for that is because literally we've had people in the past who have fucking tried to escape the rules. Fucker. We have people. It's in the handbook. That's a hard and fast rule. Whatever
it's got to be the same call. Okay.
Well, yeah, always. So that's what was made clear, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Like you know, it sucks that you wasted hours putting this shit together, but that's the rule. You talk about rules, you want rules. That's the rules. So
I'm just trying to get people to understand where I'm coming
that's
from.
fine.
Because
that's
now
cool.
it's been made public that people think I've been slacking, right? So now I feel like I gotta defend that, and so I'm trying to make it clear, like. One is sort of before I get to my debut, I start dealing with this deeply personal issue, and to be honest, I'm not having fun with it, right? And so that kind of killed my, hey, I'm about to go crazy and role play, and the experience is about to take over. I'm like, hold off on this whole thing, right? Because my tag team is now still playing the game every day with the dude that's upset me. Now they're asking me if I'm still gonna be around, so I'm just kind of pressing the pause button. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I go ahead, I put all this work into my match with Code. It gets rejected, which is fine. By the way, the thing that I changed on my call was to keep my attire straight and separate my universe. I had the name as OCW Hendrix, and I realized on TV presentation you would never present the Fed in the person's name. So I changed his name from OCW Hendrix to Keith Hendrix, and that's.
It was more than that. Cass nailed it down. He used his magical tism.
Don't invite him back in there, Jesus.
I'm not inviting him. He said name.
Don't say his name. He'll show up again.
Yeah, right. Magically, that's basically what it is. That's what's gonna happen, which is understandable. The bottom line is even prior to Stupid Face, even prior to any whatever with Dum Dum cakes, there was all this time that there was nothing put forth. So here's my perspective on the thing. It's like we got a guy who's telling me this, that, and the other, but he's not familiar with the product in any sense, any capacity, in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't ask questions, doesn't interact with anybody, doesn't do anything, doesn't comment on the show, doesn't comment on the forum, doesn't comment on the Discord. I don't know what's up.
So here's a difference to that, a different side to that. What if he doesn't because he thinks everyone's the same as Bourne? Because Bourne's being held up as an example of F.P.R. being great.
Well, remember
that's his attitude too.
Remember that's a sidebar. Remember when I always tell you why you have to be animals in Discord, and you all just do anyway. This is a prime example. You have a guy who's like, oh my
But
god.
if somebody
But-
comes in and they want, and they're normal people, they normally get a normal reaction from people. It's the people that come in and they act stupid that get stupid reactions. That's just the way of it.
I don't know. Sometimes people come in like, hi, and then there's a link to a bionic dildo.
All right,
Anyway,
so let me address this. Let me tell you what really happened.
Okay,
There's stuff
cool.
You guys don't.
well, I feel like I don't want to turn this into Damian Bourne's a shithead.
No,
Fuck
no,
him.
it's not. It's not about Damien. That's nothing to do with Damien.
He is a shithead, though.
The truth
Nah,
is,
he's fine.
there's truth is my character just takes a long time to develop. There's like my character is exists in another game in another world, right? Like he's the same guy that's in my GTA MC. And so
Okay.
to make a long story short is I'm trying to make very elaborate history for him for backstory, and I'm trying to make that with video content. And I'm trying to make sure that I don't do anything to expose that too soon. And so one of the things I had to do was I originally decided I wasn't going to work with anybody in OCW. That had so much going on. It was so elaborate. I just had to be solo.
Okay.
When I start playing, and this is why it's so funny to me that people think I'm not OCW active, because it's just a matter of perspective. I am already focused on trying to help other people get in OCW because I know OCW is so cool. Of course, everybody else is going to want to do it too, right? So I run a universe on my channel, which is a SimFed. But the idea is that it's actually now supposed to be a gateway to OCW. Because we use the same creation guidelines.
Okay.
If people do online matches, we make sure they use F.P.R, and we're actually going to set up a role play board too. So the idea is that a lot of people come through my channel, they just want to create a call, and then they want to see me call their cause matches on shows, right?
Okay.
But as they start to get into it, they start to ask questions about OCW. They start to see me doing DMs all the time. And I'm constantly saying, oh, I'm also in OCW. I'm also in OCW. And I'm talking about OCW all the time. So, so already before I've even debuted, right, Skeleton, who is T.Y. Sparks, is someone who's the mod on my channel, who had sort of went through that whole process, right, before I even debuted.
Okay.
Right, and he's now already in OCW. And when I first started doing DMs with the OCW guys, Vaughn was like, "Yo, me and you should be a tag team," because literally our tires already matched. We already had matching, like it was like made for it. You know what I'm saying? And so now I'm like, okay, I gotta now work this whole experience stable thing into Keith Hendrix's backstory and role plays and all that. And I'm fine doing that because it's just going to help everybody, right? So it's going to be super cool because the backstory is that Keith Hendrix is from Los Santos, right? That's his hometown, is Los Santos, San Andreas. And so the idea is that he got into this Los Santos Championship Wrestling, which is the universe we run with our cause. And then eventually makes it big and gets a big break, and his big break is that he finally gets an OCW. So how amazing is it to me that this is working, right? Like there's already other people from LSCW who are in OCW, unbeknownst to OCW, right? I'm already got my feeder system working, right? The OCW developmentals is up in full operation, you feel me?
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, when Damian Bourne thing happens, I put the brakes on things because now I'm like, it put Vaughn and Skeleton in a weird situation, and I wasn't sure, and I don't think they were sure if they were gonna stay in the group. So that's why I just was like, you know what, let's not put out anything right now, okay? Also, I had kind of said, I kind of explained that there was a lot of stuff going on. I'm a PhD student. I'm doing research. I stream for at least 4, but often 6 to 8 hours every day. I got a lot of shit going on. So I kind of explained, I thought to Jay and some other people, like I'm slow walking this. I'm thinking of my OCW participation in years and not months. And so I'm not rushing to do stuff. And I actually said, you guys don't even have to rush to book me. I actually said that to the book.
I can understand that.
Don't worry about it. Like I'm gonna be here. It's all good. So that's why I really didn't rush to put out content. So now fast forward to I've gone through the whole episode of getting myself out of the Damien situation or whatever. I finally am ready to make my debut match with Coach Jackman. I'm like, great, I can do a first promo around all this. And actually, we were actually always going to use the inactivity to our advantage. I was actually just going to say that, the experience turned the off season to the on season. We're the hottest new group alive, and clearly, whoever's running this business doesn't know how to run business because they're not booking anything meaningful for us, right? So we were actually just going to use it and be like, what are you talking about? We're active every day. We're already helping the Fed grow, and we're not getting pushed. So it wasn't an issue to me. It was just like, you write a couple lines that ties it up in the story, and everybody moves on with it. You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing is like necessarily doesn't have to mean RPing or booking, just active in general. Like, comments on the shows, comments on the Discord, comments on the forums, et cetera, et cetera. That's one way to show activity.
But again, I was still doing DMs with people. I was actually still.
Yeah, but I'm
see this is the thing that's kind of, because none of this happened on the Discord. There isn't vision of it for everyone.
Yeah, like I've never seen any of this, so I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
even know.
so that's why the Bourne shit, we would never know about that. This is the only people are saying in the chat when you were saying it, is we would never have known about it because it's happening kind of off the reservation somewhere where we would never see it. And obviously, if we were aware of it, if the bookers were aware of it, how the actual details of it and stuff, then maybe it wouldn't have. Things would change. Things do change. Things will change after this.
He doesn't have to fucking fight Bourne. That's one thing. But then to lump in fucking Misty with that shit, that's the part I'm like, come on, what the fuck?
All right, so
anyway, wait.
Let's carry on. No,
hold
go back.
Yeah, we gotta. What's the next bit? Play the next bit.
Oh, yeah, play the next bit. Okay.
It stopped.
Oh, started back up, dumb.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Hold on.
You got it? Oh, well.
I did have it.
Well, thank you for listening to OCWFED.
It's not Spider. Rex, it's notorious.
No, I've accidentally edited in a bit of silence. It'll be 2 seconds.
Sure, while he fixes.
I gotta spell it out for this guy. My tag team is called the Heartbreakers. It's myself and Alex Asher. My stable is called The Experience. It's myself, Asher.
You're typing a condescending message to Lee.
I'd like to start a meaningful program in OCW that I can role play off of. Please unbook my match with Mystica.
Did you just have a technical?
Because he's Damian Bourne's tag team partner. If I don't want to work with Damian, I don't want to work with his tag team partner.
I sped it up a little bit. I'm continuing.
Okay.
Please book my tag team in a tag team match against a different team.
I could have read this for you so much faster.
It's fine.
My stable against a
nearly
different
there.
group, or book me against anyone else besides Damian Bourne and his tag team partner. Jesus.
Is this the Jesus part? Is this where he goes? There's a little bit more. No.
Hang on.
Fucking lazy.
Pause.
Oh no. Okay.
I think we've already established the whole narrative is horseshit regarding
Accidental horseshit, because it's important to say accidental horseshit because
Sure.
it is a miscommunication, it is a misunderstanding.
Fuck it, sure. So you said the what is it, the Heartbreakers, the Experience. All right, who the fuck are those people? The reason I say that is because there's nothing on the fucking forum, on the Discord, on a show to say, oh hey, we're the Heartbreakers. That's the Experience. Bang. Like, you basically just had this really, really passive-aggressive comment to a fucking booker about something, and it's like we're supposed to know. Now, if you said, hey, I want to do this, and this is what's happening. Then, as Dan and myself said earlier, that can be facilitated. But again, it also boils down to the whole issue regarding time zones. Who are you gonna like for example with the tag teams? Who the fuck are they gonna fight? Like Rex and Jay Fury broke up. The Scum Society's gone. Austin Lee and Aries are the current tag champs. You have Otaku, which you just lost number contendership. You have Bonistico, which you don't want to be within 10 feet of. And then that's it for that, unless we throw two Jamokes together. And then at that point it becomes trying to get two Jamokes who aren't a team with two people who might be a team, balancing the children and the time zones and all this other horse shit to get a match done. So that's why when you make a really passive fucking aggressive statement like that, I get in my feelings just a tiny bit. That's why. Like, it really feels really kind of saying, like, we're supposed to know all this shit. Like, if I say to you, what was your favorite match of Devil's Night? You're going to be like, huh? Exactly. The same way you come to me and be like, what's this? I don't fucking know. But I don't know because it hasn't been presented to me or to us or to the community. That's the thing. Now, if it was, then there would be some form of, oh, okay, we got it. Like, for example, everyone's like, yo, what's with the headgear? And the only reason I know was a passing conversation with you back in like September where he didn't want to get hit in the head or some shit like that. And I fucking pocket. It was hilarious. It's a great gimmick. But no one else in the fucking site knew. You could have spent 2 seconds in the beginning of a Super Turmoil and, with an interview segment like, why are you wearing a headdress? I ain't gonna get hit in the head by this dummy. Boom, done. And now we have a context for the headdress. I think the issue is you want to be very elaborate, which is fine, but you're going to run into the issue that a guy like Quartz had where he wants to be, super elaborate. Sometimes it goes over people's heads because, everything's different and people digest content differently. Some people can go on these giant, long diatribes and like, this is the best work ever. And then someone like me will go, what the fuck did you just say?
I mean, I'm not worried about that. I mean, I definitely get the headgear over. Honest,
no, but the point is that there's no one had any context. So when you send a message like that, it's like
I didn't try to give you any. I mean, like I think you guys are confusing with can't and hasn't. Like, I haven't written anything, right? I wasn't booked. I didn't ask to be booked. So I didn't ask. I wasn't. In other words, I was saying Keith Hendrix is officially on the roster. He hasn't been booked. He's not in any matches. So I didn't start to tell you his story, so I don't expect people to have answers. Well, and I'm glad they have questions. I mean, it's humbling that they have questions. Actually,
let me ask you this question then: Did you go on the roll call?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go on the roll call, that's what tells bookers that you're ready to be booked.
Okay. So let me deal with this booking thing. Okay. No. My comment is about the activity in people in OCW not know, and you saying that I don't expect anybody to know. I think the only people that know anything about Keith Hendrix are people that watch my stream or play the game. Otherwise, how else would you know unless you read the one comment I made about his story in the Discord?
Yeah, a long time ago. That's the only reason I got the issue.
And again, that was a bad idea. One, because I said way more than I wanted to say, and then all of a sudden people were like critiquing how much I said, and it was like, look, all right, whatever.
That's gonna happen. People are gonna critique everything. That's the number one rule.
And that's why sometimes you say, look, and sometimes that's great, and other times you just say, hey, look, I don't necessarily need to expose myself to all that, especially if it's not helpful to me. And I don't find it helpful to me if people are telling me things I already know, but I'm trying to fill you in, and now you know what I'm saying? It just put me in a weird situation. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. All right. I was like, in other words, I put it was they'll figure it out when they do it.
Sure. Well, Dan, hold up. Dan, play the
next
bit.
Okay.
Play next.
Then here we go.
What's up, Finding Emo? My bad, bro. Sorry, I'm just dealing with some nonsense over here. Like, I've just been having a couple good weeks in OCW, and they just can't seem to just follow the simplest of instructions.
All right, instructions that were never given. Sure.
I want to work like we have this.
Not true. Oh, we're gonna get. I'm gonna get. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep going.
Big ass wrestling promotion. It has 2 shows, 2 full rosters on 2 consoles. Probably, I don't know, 20 to 30 people on each console.
60 total.
Like.
Ish.
You're having a conversation we're recording, Jay. Calm down.
Like, oh my goodness. Let me show you. I'm not even making this shit up.
Right, so this is a bit that we can't see. So for the benefit of the people who are obviously listening to this, he was going through the roster page at this point.
Yeah, I was showing the roster pages.
Yeah.
Showing the expanse.
This is OCWFED. These are all of the people in OCW on the PS4.
Here he goes, showing more people.
2 full goddamn
I
pages
should have kept this
of
up.
a roster. And you can't manage to not book me against the one person I said I don't want to work with or his tag team partner.
Pause.
Okay.
Let's go back to the initial comment regarding feasibility on booking. If I want a match done, you know who'll get it done? Mystico. So despite, you know, you got an issue with stupid face, that's fine. Acceptable, understandable. Then lumping his partner. I mean, I'm reiterating the same shit, so I'm not gonna, you know, repeat it. But that's the reasoning for that.
But are you gonna let me? Or do we have
Yeah,
more to
go.
go through? I'm gonna let you. No. I'm gonna let you go.
No, that was basically
Let's get through
that's the
what I
reason
thought.
because
Oh,
like
okay.
for like if I could like you know who that was basically like a grind. But if you don't want to be booked, that's easy. You know,
No,
that was,
okay,
That
so-
was me trying to look out for you because you had a match. Like, oh shit, you
Yeah.
got a match.
Yeah.
Let's get it going.
So let me before I go booking thing about where I'm at with that, let me also just fill everybody in on the timing of what happened through all this. So my mod jumped into my stream when I was working on something else. I was doing something, and he was like, "Yo, you need to go check out the OCW terminal card." So I go ahead and do that. That's when I saw that I was booked against Mystico, and so I you know, you guys heard what I started saying on stream, but literally
Yes.
you hear me typing out that message, right? And I'm talking about it as I'm typing. That's in real time. I'm sending that message to Notorious. At that time, I don't know that Jay booked the match. Notorious responds to me saying, I didn't book that match. Jay booked the match. Talk to Jay. I copied the match to Jay, the message, right? I copied that message to Jay, literally said, Jay, I don't want to sound like a whiner, but this is exactly what I said to Spider Group, right? Because I mean to Notorious, right? Because I didn't want to say something inconsistent. So I literally copied the message and told him such. So Jay and I then get into this conversation about the kind of the stuff we've been going through and the stuff with the roster size and all that. And I actually ended that stream saying, "Oh, I just been having this long conversation on Discord about all this stuff with Jay. I think Jay and I need to have a heart to heart." And like I ended up feeling in a good place with Jay. So I'm just trying to make it clear that because I think Jay, you had some confusion. Like you may have thought like I was having a conversation with. The thing was, I was upset. Did what I thought I should do, which is message the booker. I was sent to you. I copied the message to you, and then you and I had a conversation about it. And that's actually why we're doing this podcast, right? Because you and I had that very real conversation.
Oh yeah, because it was either this or I just fucking go
or
on a
some back
rampage.
and forth. Yeah.
No, I just
back-
go on a fucking spree, and you know people get upset. So that was the case. But no, I'm glad it got cleared up in some aspect. But I feel like there's still some other questions. So
Sure.
Danny Boy, can you
But for-
continue
oh.
the tape's
Oh,
almost
there's
over,
more.
right?
Oh, there's
Yeah,
more.
there's plenty. Let's play a little bit more. I got a little bit more.
Okay.
Hope we can wrap it up soon.
It's a lot of silence. I was with myself.
Yo, Skeleton, one thing I'm learning about OCW, bro, is you have to be protective of your booking. Holy shit. It's like
Pause.
OCW.
Let me jump in here. You
Jump in.
absolutely do. You absolutely 100% do.
fuck
But
you.
here's why. No. Here's why. So sometimes to get over in OCW, you have to eat some shit. That doesn't mean that you don't have to have a backbone in OCW. That means that you have to occasionally do something you don't want to do. Now, if somebody's trying to actively like discourage you or mock real like personal issues that you've got or anything like that, absolutely don't bend over for them. Fuck them. But there are points where you'll be like, I don't really care for this guy, but let me just do a match with him, and it's whatever. So there is a line, and you do have to protect your character all the way. Your character's yours. Don't ever let somebody else even write for you. If anybody ever writes for you, this isn't just for you, Keith. This is for anybody in the chat. Don't let anybody write for you because it's not in your voice. People can't write in your voice at all.
Trey Golden.
Yeah, nobody can write in your voice. Nobody can get across the idea of your character like you can. I always say that I'm in character because I am always in character. My character talks in my voice. My character acts how I act. And I've just kind of turned it's a fucking stupid cliche that I hate, but I've turned it up to 11.
Turn it up to 11. And even though, and my character may be right, and I'm sure so many people feel this way. That's the only reason I'm saying it.
Can we please stop saying my character?
It's like as a performer.
Please don't say that.
No, but
I
it's
don't know
true.
what to say.
It's
I don't
true.
know
That's
Oh,
what we
God,
are.
What the? Are we a fucking cough-ed? Is that
We're
what it
cough-
is?
As a
we are.
wrestler,
No,
okay,
we're not.
My
Oh my
wrestler,
God.
my wrestler may be
Oh my God.
new to you, but he's not new, right? And so a lot of us have a lot of ourselves invested in before you join the Fed. That's all I'm saying.
What you should look at this as, Jay, is somebody from the outside who already has an established character. This guy, Keith, he's doing exactly what I did. I was already semi-established somewhere else before I came here. Now, what I did was I utilized that, and in my first promo, we can go back and read it, but I mentioned the fuck out of that old Fed, and I talk about it like it's the worst place. I bury it. It's the worst thing that I ever did, but it's still ingrained in my character through the, when was that, 2007? So 12 years I've been playing this character. I've been performing this character,
Oh,
if you want to
stop
talk like
saying
that.
those words.
And it's ingrained in you. It is ingrained in you. So if he's got an audience elsewhere, him coming here and doing the OCW way brings in that
Oh my
audience. It
fucking
just
God.
does.
And that
When did you get
helps
effects?
everybody.
Yeah, exactly, because
But
it brings in new eyes and it brings in a guy who knows what he's doing, but not in the OCW way. So let's
Right, but
tailor
now
him to the
there's
OCW.
but there's also a community now that could potentially be invested in the OCW
Exactly.
community. But if they see I come out of the box and it just dies before it even gets off the ground, then
But in that case, it sounds like you're saying that you want a preferential booking. And all
no,
kinds of
no, no,
weird
no,
shit.
no, 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 absolutely not. I'm just saying that you should be mindful about these things, and so should everybody. It's not preferential booking. It's just your booking has to matter to you. And again, let me be clear about this too. What I really don't like about the way I said that is that I made it sound like it's an OCW thing. It's not an OCW thing. It's a wrestling thing. You as a talent are one talent. When you go into a Fed, that Fed has history. It has its whole thing. That Fed can decide you're the next greatest thing, or they can decide that you're not worth getting out of training school. But to you, this is your one shot, at least at this place. And so that really, to me, applies to, I would say that about anybody, about wrestling. And any wrestler you love, from whether it's E-Feds or not, can talk to you, and I'm sure you know the stories of things they said they weren't going to do, or we all love when they decided to bet on themselves, or we all make Cody a hero because he said fuck Stardust and I'm going to go show you I can be, right? And it's just the same thing. Like, you got to decide, yo, I'm it for
Bet.
me, so I'm betting on that. Like,
All right, so continue, Dan.
What?
We're almost done.
Oh, okay.
Continue. We're almost done.
And I was talking to Vaughn about this the other day. OCW is so steeped in its own history and its own tradition that it becomes like very insular thinking. And you have to remember that you're new to them. And I hate to say this, almost like as a rookie, they don't care about you.
Let me pause
Pause.
it there. No, I'm going to pause it there.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Go ahead.
As a rookie, and I think Court has just beat me to it in the chat, you're one of 100 rookies that will come through the doors, and maybe 2 of them stay out of the 100. Maybe. What I've learned from booking Ambition this past half month, 2 weeks. How long's it been? Like 2 weeks.
Roughly.
Out of the 11 matches that I booked, I've had to come to terms with the fact that 5 of them are not going to get done because people have left or people have done whatever. And some people care about rookies. I will always help a rookie out if they're around, but I have chewed out rookies before, so it depends on the context of the rookie. I've seen your character and gone, that looks like a good character, so I personally would kind of be there to be like, yeah, I'll help him out if he needs help from me. And it's a by case basis in OCW as far as the rookies go. Some rookies come in and are absolute pieces of shit. They just act stupid. They come in, I'm going to be world champion tomorrow. They're going on this diatribe, and they're just a waste of our time a lot of the time. Sometimes you get a really good one, and from what I can see from coming back, there's been a big influx of really good ones. So maybe I'm wrong about this.
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
I
So
like Misty.
there's
I like-
people.
despite Bourne being a fucking idiot, I don't have an issue on that front. Same thing with Misty. Misty fucked up in the beginning.
actually,
We
can
hit some
I
shit.
feel bad, yo. Seriously,
Hold on.
Okay,
Let
okay,
me
I don't want to cut
fin-
you off. My bad. I should-
Yeah, so that it's true. We don't give a fuck about rookies for the simple fact that, as Court said, and as whatever said, because again, 14 fucking years, right? So once upon a time, I was very mild-mannered, very eloquent, very kind, and very polite. You know what that got me, Keith Hendricks? Do you understand what that got me? That got me a
Walked
1
all
a.m.
over,
A 1 a.m. AIM conversation where these people that I treated very well were trying to fucking usurp my shit. They were trying to take everything that I did and fuck it over. So when I showed up, everybody got in line, and then on that same evening, that same night, when I woke up the following morning, I was like, fuck all of these people. And it's been like that ever since. And since then, we've gone from 10 to 50 to 200 to 400 to 100 to 10 to 50 to 30 to 40, whatever. And where we're at now, 60 or 40, whatever the fuck we're at now, I don't know. I don't care. But the bottom line is, the reason that I'm not so excited for rookies is for the simple fact that I have spent over at least a fucking year cumulatively for the last 14 years of my fucking life helping all manner of person crawl, walk, dance, tap dance, do whatever, only to be disappointed time and time fucking again. So yes, the next point where he hits play and it'll repeat, oh, until you show us something. You're goddamn right, until you fucking show us something, because at least if we see something, shout out to all the rookies like Capo and Valk and everybody who just came from the gutter and pulled themselves up, because until you show something, I don't give a fuck about you, because you're just gonna be here to waste my motherfucking time until you prove otherwise. That's how it has to be, for the simple fact that when I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? Let me grab your tushy. Let me help you out. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me coddle you. Only to be fucked over in the end. I'm done and I'm fucking tired of it. I'm not gonna have it. So until people do something, that's when I'm like, all right, boom, cool. Born, like I said, stupid ass, again, the fucking reoccurring theme. He got banned for being a shithead. And then he harassed me to get back in. Like he just annoyed. He annoyed me to get back in. He got in, and you know what? In front, he's been a straight arrow. Misty had his issues, and now Misty is one of the best people, so much so that he is now on a different platform. People are excited to have him on the platform from a guy that people didn't want to fucking work with. The problem is the issue is everybody can turn it around in the end. That's what I feel. For example, the guy you're talking to, Pugh, he was a flake for like fucking 4 or 5 years, and now he's a Hall of Famer. You know, everybody has a different trail.
That's why I'm fully behind your slow build tactics, because I was here for 4 years before I got anywhere.
But again, it's the perception that's what I'm saying. The perception is one thing, and then it's the other. So that's the issue. But that's where it comes, where I come from with rookies. And it's not out of malice, but it's not the whole point that we cannot fucking invest. He just invested in ambition, and all these signups, and already like half are just like, oh.
But we expected that, and that's what you expect from the new rookie class.
But yeah, that's the issue.
I was actually like, that's kind of completely where I was coming from. Like I said, even like in my MC, it's the same thing. Like, I'm one of the newer patch members, right? But some of the patch members that have been around longer, they literally mute or hang around in prospect. They literally mute them, and they, like, in other words, until they make it, they don't even, you see what I'm saying? They don't even want to.
Yeah, it's not even make it. It's not even make it though. It's like just provide. Because here's the other fun fact about OCW. It is really fucking simple for people to go, oh, until you fuck up. Really simple. Fucking what's his face? Benji Paintman. Just by going tings, people like tee Benji. Already, just by doing that. You know, people like Mystico, the light bulb shit. You know, Capo with his role plays and his photos. Valkyrie, fucking, who is unheard of popularity, just out of nothing. Court with the fucking Real American Hero shit. Just little tiny, little minute things. People are like, okay, they gravitate to you. As long as you prove you're not a fucking dummy, people gravitate to you.
I think people have already started gravitating towards you with the video. The first video that I saw, was it on Devil's Night, that video?
No, it was on...
It was on
one of the turmoils.
Yeah, it was on something that I watched before Devil's Night then, and people actually popped for it. People enjoyed it. So like, if you there's weird niches in OCW that can happen, and KD occupies one of them. KD is in that weird niche of he likes to film his backyard and talk some shit, and that's a weird niche that he does. People who do
niche. Yeah, sorry.
People who do just video promos. They used to be a big deal back in the day, but nobody really does it anymore because it's hard to do with this game. So the more effort that you've put into videos, people appreciate the video, and then people appreciate the fact that you go into all this effort as a rookie, and that's what has already started to get you over. And I know people are.
That's what drew me to OCW. Was I saw that, and I saw Valkyrie stuff before I joined, and I read it, and I read her promos, and she had like pictures in there, and somebody said something like, oh, is that GTA? And she said something like, oh, we all know it is, or something. And yeah. I was like, this is the place for me. it was like I just had that moment. Yeah.
So there's a really easy, in OCW, it's really easy to be the same as everyone else, but it's really difficult. Well, not difficult, but it's kind of if you're able to think outside the box and use other things and do other stuff, like you can do that.
Actually, we're actually all on the same page about this. That
Yeah,
was
exactly.
exactly my point. I was really, and like that's how I see Skeleton, right? Skeleton is, that's T.Y. Sparks. T.Y. Sparks he's really good at this game, right? And he is like he's creative, right? So he's great with all the character creation stuff. We literally like send him our characters, like, yo, do my outfit, like hook me up with an attire. Like he makes so much content for my channel, and all of it is phenomenal. And so like I see him as like a big rising star, right? And all the people who interact with him and play the game with him and see his stuff all know he's amazing, right? But like you just said, until he proves himself to the rest of the OCW world, right, he might there's not going to be any sort of deliberate behind him. You see what I'm saying? And that's exactly my point of you have to be protective. Yeah, I see you as a star, but I'm your homie. You know, and it's important that you do things because look, and again, it's not an OCW thing. For
It's an
anybody
everywhere thing.
It's a wrestling thing. And matter of fact, I'm gonna be real with you. It's part of the business, the tradition of the business. The tradition of the business is as you see in NJPW, as the young lions, you're there to just get thrown into the barrier to get over a match.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but you know what I'm saying.
For example, like for the riot booking is generally as follows. You have the way it's roughly usually supposed to go, but now it's a little bit different. I'm sure Pugh can attest to this. Essentially, you fight somebody's alt. They don't go easy on you, but they're not gonna murder you. They're just gonna play you, and if you do well, you do well. Then you have another guy, same thing, more or less, same issue. And again, he's gonna fight you. He's not gonna let you win. But if you manage to get a win, cool, no problem. Your third match is KD.
You're letting people behind the curtain there. Stop letting people behind the curtain. That's how it usually goes. You fight KD. So the booking theory is
KD's gonna fuck you up, and if you beat KD, great. If not, it is what it is. It's not, just because you lose doesn't mean shit. Like it doesn't really matter. Like people need to not get hung up on wins and losses for a comp league. If you're doing sim, then whatever the fuck. Oh, I can't believe I lost. But if you're doing a comp league, you have to understand that you will get your ass kicked occasionally. Court got his ass mauled last year by a cheater, and it wound up being one of the funniest moments ever. And then this season, he had a video that you may or may have seen of all of his failures put into one beautiful package.
I think we actually
fucking
just
John
presented
Lennon.
a really interesting paradox.
To John Lennon, what was that?
And I don't want to.
It was Billy Joe.
Let me go back to something.
Billy Joe. Sorry.
I was just saying that
try
there's
to keep
tradition.
it short. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. There's a tradition when you're a younger talent of being used to help get more experienced talent over, right?
That doesn't happen here.
It doesn't, but I'm just saying that's I'm just saying that it's not necessarily an OCW thing to like not necessarily put so much emphasis on pushing talent or whatever. And that can not always, but can sometimes lead to somebody we deciding that we shouldn't care about somebody before we've had a chance to do so. But this other paradox you talked about, like you shouldn't be too worried about wins and losses in a comp league because it's not a sim fed. That I think that's actually counterintuitive to the popular understanding, right? You would actually think, well, in a sim league, I can't control wins and losses, so who cares? I'm just gonna have to go with the story based on what happens. And then in the comp league, I should care much more about wins and losses because everybody really knows that this is a real competitive thing.
So,
and that was kind of my thinking. You wouldn't put your number 12 contender against your number 2.
No. So here's the way to think about that. Wins and losses do matter, but wins and losses don't matter to your storyline. You can get over, and sometimes it's more important to find out what you do after a loss than what you do after a win. Doesn't mean that you should lose all the time. It means that you should always try and win. But your storyline is irrelevant to what you do in the most of the time in promos and stuff, which kind of sucks because it's kind of a disconnect. So like Drago, for example, Drago will fuck everybody up, but he's a nice guy in promos. In promos, he isn't hitting anybody. In promos, he's fucking people up. Cass makes another good example. Bobby Minio. Bobby Minio is the best writer on the site. He has been for 5 years. He is shit at the game, or he has been historically. The disconnect with Bobby. Why do you keep doing that? Stop doing that.
Fuck you.
The thing with Bobby is that he will always spin the fact that he lost that match into something good, and people follow him for it. So you can kind of this is something that a lot of people don't want to hear, and this is what I was trying to say the other day when we had that big anime versus Jim Cornette wrestling thing. So you can only get as high as the middle of the mid card, unfortunately, if you're not very good at the game. But you can be the best person in the mid card, and you can be the one that people care about. You can't be world champion if you're not good at the game. That's just kind of how it is. So
Right.
there's a point where writing and good videos and good story will get you. You have to then learn the game, and the game's learnable because I've taught people how to be better than me at the game before. You just have to know how to use the game to work within the OCW rules. So once you can get to that next level, then you get to that next level. Everyone breaks through, or most people break through. Bobby still hasn't broken through, but he's getting there, and he is better at the game. He's beaten me like countless times the past few years. So there's a point where you have to kind of just accept that you can either get your character over, or you can keep winning. People that keep winning often don't have a decent character, unfortunately. Justin Reyes was really good at the game a lot of the time. Shit character. Cody Storm was world champion. Terrible character.
Trevor
McManus didn't watch shows, had a horrible character, but he was good at the game. So you can be world champion by being really good at the game, but people won't care about you. The best way to do it, ignore your wins and losses, and I know that's really counterintuitive and it sounds stupid, but it's your character's most important. Your character is absolutely most important, and it's if we use me as an example. So I flaked. I was in and out for 4 years, and I never had any sort of focus. I never had any sort of anything. Wasn't very good at the game, and I didn't have a character really. So I came back. First thing that I did was establish my character, and then I just worked and worked and worked and worked until I could beat anybody on the game. And then once that happened, I tipped, and I became a contender and everything. And that's just what you've got to do. And you seem like you're one of the sort of original ambition guys where you are really, really interested in your character and having feuds and building stuff. And that's how you have to be in OCW if you're going to get anywhere.
You also have to be reliable to get your shit done in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that whole conversation was weird to me. I didn't have any issues scheduling with Code. I do remember you mentioning something, and then we got the match done that day. But I was planning to get the match done with this. I don't know what that.
Just from my experience, we said we're doing a podcast in 5 minutes, and you were here straight away. So as far as I'm concerned, you're available. So I don't know where that's come from.
Yeah, I'm also like I stream at least 6 days a week. Like I'm like it's not hard to find.
See, I had this happened with another ambition duo. I don't want to say names, but I'm going to say names anyway. So Jet came to me the other day and said that he couldn't find his opponent. So I went into the general chat. I added both of them. They both showed up. So it's not about, this isn't to you because you obviously know that you're available and stuff. But there are some people who are kind of going, I can't find my opponent. Your opponent's always there because Discord pushes a notification on your phone. If you're not stupid and you've got Discord on your phone, then you're getting a notification if somebody asks you. So there's no excuse. There's Xbox Live, there's PSN, there's the website, there's all these different ways to contact people. So most people aren't unreliable. You're just not looking in the right place for them, is what I would say to that.
Hit play, sir.
Hold on. I can't hit play and have a diatribe at the same time.
Like, until you've quote unquote proven yourself to them, they don't give a shit. But it's very hard to prove yourself in an environment where you're constantly up against people that are more experienced than you are. And it's hard to find out information. It's hard to know what's going on. And so that's actually what Ambition was kind of created for. But then it's like they're letting the Turmoil and Riot booking undermine the entire purpose of Ambition.
I'm stopping there. Okay, so obviously I'm in charge of Ambition. The reason that we're doing it how we're doing it, and you can probably understand this better than most because you've made stuff. You've got channels on Twitch, I guess YouTube as well, maybe. Yeah. So what we're basically doing with Ambition is so it isn't time sensitive and so we don't have to mention. So basically, I wanted to collect 12 matches that we're going to split across 3 shows. Same way that like TNA or NXT or anybody would do their TV tapings. So we're gonna tape them, but the reason we're not ordering them right at the start is because we don't know who the main eventers are going to be. That's going to be decided by the people who show up and the people that make themselves interesting. So the first set of shows is just a collection of matches. with RPs with them. So basically that means that we didn't need in any real way to address anything that was going on anywhere else, because we're just kind of showcasing people and going, this is the character, this is what you need to know about the character, and this is the match they're having. So there was, if you wanted to introduce backstory, there's nothing saying that you can't introduce backstory yourself. But the reason that we were doing it is so that everyone's on a level playing field, so that somebody coming in fresh off the boat, brand new core, has never done this before, is in the same boat as you, who's been doing this for a long time. Just so that there's... Go on.
Yeah, that's like that same disconnect I had earlier, where I just was sort of under the impression, you know, just because you're trying to put the pieces together, that everything you do has to be meaningful. And my thinking at the time was, it doesn't... I always hate when wrestlers ignore things, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, after the Survivor Series, we came back to SmackDown and let's just ignore the fact that we went 6-0 or whatever, right? 0-6 or whatever it was. So that's sort of what I was talking about. Was,
yeah, and that
again,
makes sense.
I'm thinking it's gonna be weird for me to have, you know, for us to be featured like, hey, these are hot new young talent you should pay attention to, and then put that right up against us. And again, it was the potential, right? Nothing happened. I haven't been buried by OCW, right? But I was just sort of observing the fact that, like, if you're at one time giving me a platform to shine, and then at the same time putting me in the main context but not shining, that could contradict each other.
Yeah.
And especially if I have to acknowledge all of it,
which is understandable.
Consistency, yeah.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that. The reason that we were doing it is, the way that I pitched it to Jay was that it would be a standalone showcase of all of the people that haven't been over yet and haven't been seen really on OCW, like normal TV. So the idea was initially to do 6 episodes. That could grow into 9, 12. That could grow into a full season of, like, the whole season. We'll just do the shows. It's really just based on who comes in and who tries to just steal the show, basically, is the idea. Who makes themselves stand out. Because it could be its own brand, it could be its own show. No one's discounting that. But the reason that it's only 6 episodes to start with is because we wanted to know what the interest was like, and if we could actually do it. Because you've kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. It's hard to find stuff on OCW's website because the website is old. And I personally feel that a lot of the presentation in OCW is old. We don't present shows in the optimal way, I don't feel like. So this was me, and this is something that I've not told Jay yet. This is me trying to prove to Jay that we can do this on a weekly basis. That we can turn around a show, and stuff that you're going to see in Ambition is stuff that OCW hasn't tried before, in terms of a uniform way of delivering RPs, a uniform way of delivering, like, full A to B commentary like you wanted. So we're just trying. Basically, it's a pilot for what OCW, and it's kind of a proof of concept to show Jay what we maybe could do in a weekly show.
Let me make a third confession. That something I mentioned to Jay that I haven't mentioned on the podcast. I actually wanted to start a FedEx.
Okay.
And literally, because I'd been in a role play based text fed, and I just thought you should have the best of both worlds. And so when I found OCW, I was like, this is it. And to be honest, my vision is, I think OCW fits into a niche, but it does it so well that I think it can be a legitimate wrestling product. Like, that's where I see it. Like, I want you to care more about OCW than you care about All Elite Wrestling. Like, that would be my dream come true. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I first joined and I sort of realized, like, the light bulb about OCWFed went off about the history and the weightiness and just everything, right? You're like, oh man, this is it, right? That was my first thing. I went to the website and I was just like, oh, this just feels dated. This is and what I've come to feel like now as being a part of it is, it feels like, again, it's built and it works really well for the insiders. If you know what the Daily Suplex means and you know where to find stuff and this is how it's always been done, that's fine. But if you're an outsider and you're just a wrestling fan looking for a new wrestling product that's easy to follow and easy to jump into and know exactly what's up, OCW could be that, but it's not.
Yeah, it's hard to find stuff.
But we've got the fucking product.
Mm-hmm. We've got the people, we've got everything, we've got the fishbone of what we need. Like, exactly, and that's what I'm trying to. That was my idea with Ambition. Was because obviously I've got like other concerns and I do other stuff elsewhere. I know, because I don't know if you're aware of it, but like in 2012 or whatever it is, we tried to do a YouTube show, and it was such a pain in the ass because we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have the reliable people. We were literally fighting because OCW had about 12 active members back then. It was slow. So now we're in a situation where we've got so many people that are kind of willing to do stuff, and we have so many people that are able to do stuff. Not just willing, but they're able to do audio stuff. We're able to have like immersion stuff like podcasts. We're able to have video packages. We're able to have big video streams where the whole show is displayed in one big stream and everyone can watch it together. The technology is there. We've just not caught it yet. So the more stuff that we bring up to what's available now, the more immersion that you'll see, and the more interest in OCW that we could maybe get.
I just want to point out something real quick. Having seen other Discord eFeds where all they do is promo in Discord and they don't record or archive or whatever matches, or having seen call feds where all they do is zoomed in, clipped out clips on YouTube with no rhyme or reason. I mean, it is a little dated, sure, but at least we have fucking context and history at the push of a button, albeit an old button that needs to be wound up with a fucking winch and anchor. Just saying.
No, Jay, that's what we're saying. We're saying like that's what I'm saying. Like the stuff we're saying that is not there is easy stuff. What we have is the stuff nobody else can touch because of what you just said, right? My thing was just to say that it's actually, I think, a growing niche. Like if you look on Twitch, there's a lot of fantasy eFeds or
but they're
none of them are like OCW.
Yeah, the hybrid thing is something that's completely. I've still never seen a Fed that's like what we do. I've seen people try and copy what we do, but I've never seen a Fed that is the same as what we do and independent of, if that makes sense.
I mean, I put it like this, not to fucking play Gravitas toot horn game, but we had a guy Thrace who came in and he's from a roleplay Fed that has been for the longest time, and I had him go through 2 pay-per-views just from a tech-space perspective, and he was like, holy shit. I mean, he wasn't like holy shit, but he was like, this gets at least a 7.5 out of 10 from the written standpoint. So I'm like, all right, what about the videos? If you compound the videos, it's easy a fucking like 9 or a 10. That's the thing. We can do the writing, and we could also do the fucking video. The only difference is we don't have these fucking little popularity contests where these cars come online and look at my fucking car and blah, 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 on Twitter. Here's a bunch of likes for my whorish looking car, my fucking car, my ethnically diverse car who just does sim matches. We actually have people that fucking fight week in and week out and knock each other, out the fucking paint. And we got people that are writing, like crazy. And that's why I get so upset when people like try to bring these weird, uninformed opinions. I mean, I don't mind opinions, but it's like when they're uninformed, like a little chafe. And then on top of that, that's the other reason why I always get so ill appreciative of rookies, for that simple fact that we've been here, we have this is for you guys, not for me. Like everybody I speak to that says, oh, I have a Fed, I was champion. I've never been a champion of OCW. Actually, I think I did once, but that was because everybody was like, you should do it. Like, I don't want to do it. And that was in 2008, and that was for like maybe a week, 2 weeks out for the laws. That was it. Everybody else was like, oh, I'm the 17-time champion. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. I don't do this shit.
You didn't do 17 times, you put 17 grand into your own money, basically.
Yeah, right? I do this shit for me, not for any. I mean, I do this shit for y'all, not for fucking me. I feed off of your energy when people do the role play, when people do the writing, when people do the commenting, when people produce their own fucking content that I don't have to babysit. Shout out to Jake and other Adam, shit like that. When they do their own stuff and I don't have anything to do with it and they provide content for OCW, that's when I am the most happiest and the most appreciative of the community. That's why, and that's the other reason why I always don't give a fuck about a rookie, for that simple reason, because you come here, you don't do shit, not you particularly, but you come here, you don't do shit, and it's like, oh, okay, you want me to pat you on your tushy? Fuck you, get out of here. So we got like one more thing and then we're done, right?
Yep, go, here we go.
Also, just not...
Go ahead.
I mean, the playlist, and then we'll do whatever you've got left at the end.
Knowing shit, like if you have 2 members of a team that are not working together, you put those teams on completely separate trajectories, because otherwise you're putting them in a dead end. You have two members of a team that won't work together. So a program between anybody in those groups leads to a dead end. They don't care. They're like, oh, we'll just fight. And
that's agreeable. We've already gone over that, though.
No, it's my fucking career, and I can't sell you on follow everything the Outlaw Prince does if I'm going, oh, well, I debuted, that was meaningful. Oh, I'm doing this really meaningful thing on Ambition. Oh, I know you know this whole history between the fact that I work there, but just ignore that for a second. Just ignore that, and just want. It's like, nah, bro, that's not how wrestling works, bro. You have to make me care about everything, or I'm not going to care about anything.
That's true. That's 100% true. How you got there is a bit wonky, but in terms of OCW, but
this is the most polite I've ever seen you, and it fucking disgusting.
No, because this is
being good cop, and I gotta be the asshole.
This is me being a professional broadcaster. So shut the fuck up.
Okay, fuck it. Yeah, now you're a professional broadcaster, you motherfucker.
No, basically, what is true? It is actually true. The booking doesn't help in OCW a lot, but you need to guide the booker if that's the case. So go to the booker and be like, this guy. I don't. Obviously, we know now the reason that you don't want to fight Bourne, so that's cool. That's probably not going to happen again at any point. But if you want it to go, if you want sort of feuds with people to go somewhere, you need to just push the booker. Because I'll be honest with you, when I was booking, I wasn't paying attention to everyone. I was paying attention to some people. It's hard to pay attention to everyone. Yeah, but it's hard to pay attention to so many people. It is hard to pay attention to a lot of people.
Yeah. No, and I said that. We've had, and again, it's weird because I think you, Pugh, I think you got this clip, right? You recorded this.
This was all clipped up when I was watching it.
Which I didn't even know you watched my stream, but thank you.
He did. I told him to grab it.
He tried to make me angry with it, and I wasn't angry by it.
But there are times that I've literally said this, and I've had this conversation with Regal stream about how we can't keep up with all the content that's put out there as talent. It's hard to do that, and so I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't expect the booker to do that. I actually, I said that earlier. Like, I think with the amount of content OCW puts out, it's got to be hard to keep track of it, and so to keep track of enough to do responsible booking is difficult. But to go into the interpersonal stuff, I would never expect that of someone.
We used to kind of keep like a little, so there's kind of like a, I don't know if it still exists anymore, but it was kind of like an unwritten, we know who doesn't, no, but we know who doesn't, we know who wouldn't fight with people, so we know that KD wouldn't fight Raze or whoever. There was little things that you knew not to book, so if you kind of make people aware of that, then it's easy for them not to. In this case, obviously, it's been a miscommunication, but in real terms, if you ever find yourself not being able to fight with somebody, even if it's just something like, I can't connect with that person, the two consoles don't connect, then we know that. Yeah, so they know that, and it won't be booked again. So it's just stuff like that. It's just, like you said yourself, it's hard to keep track of 60 people, plus alts.
I don't know, because earlier I heard, it's easy, lazy, all that kind of shit.
No. Let me. Can I? You guys haven't let me address that.
Yeah, go and address that.
Go for it.
Okay. The truth is, I'm gonna defend those comments.
Okay.
Not completely, because obviously I was upset, right? And so, you never feel as passionately. You're always like, in other words, if I said anything that upset anybody personally, I'm sorry about that, right? Because
I'm not personally upset.
Yeah, my goal was not to. My goal was to me was about how I felt about it.
Trust me, I'm not personally upset. Just agitated.
But to clear the air, I'm gonna defend at the time, feeling like it was reasonable for me to think that was a lazy move.
Yeah.
And
fuck that.
Here's why. I made Jay aware what the issue was between me and Dave, right? He sent me to Notorious. Now I have the Discord pulled up, okay? But when the original issue happened and I needed to get out of that foreign match, I explained all of this to Notorious.
So I'm realizing, just like being in a real Fed, as a talent, you have to protect yourself. Like, you got to remember, the bookers cared about booking whatever he thinks is going to work.
I actually had explained that to him. He even said, I said to him, thanks, all this is new to me. It'd be great if the placement tagged it for you or sparks it. He says all all three of y'all are a team. Yeah, we're stable. We're still interested in doing our own thing, but Asher's my tag partner. And then he just said, okay, so just wrote out another. Better.
And what was the date on that?
This is in November.
Yeah. January. We just went through how people, it's really difficult to remember. Like, I'm not going to keep harping on the whole thing.
No, it's fine. But again, it's like, it's not like he didn't, it's not, so
yeah, it's not
me,
like it's no prior knowledge.
Like, no, I did specifically request, don't book my group with this group. That was the only thing I had requested. So again, from my perspective, I don't know that you booked this match. I think he booked this match. And I have explicitly asked him to not book my team against this other team. And that is traditionally in wrestling dead end booking. You don't, because again, I can't sell you on pay attention to, I just won my big role play match and I just won my Turmoil debut. But let's not talk about, and I'm just ignore the fact that what happened with the whole issue with Damian Bourne and Mystico. Like I would it was so weird. So
Dan, do you want to take?
It makes sense if there's a miscommunication.
No, but
there's more than that. It's more than that. It's more than that.
From go ahead.
Because to be honest, and again, I feel bad. Damien and I have, Damien's apologized to me. I've started doing DMs with Damien. I think he's great at the game, and I don't think he's a terrible human being. I just think our personalities clash, or have clashed. And to be honest, he's a cool dude and whatever. Like I'm not trying to.
You don't need to say that. Keep saying he's a dipshit.
He's not cool at all.
I'm not gonna say that. But
his hairline's fucked up.
My point is what happened.
You could tell him, Benji. I said his hairline's fucked up.
Here's what matters, right? That doesn't matter. What matters is what happened went beyond wrestling.
Yes.
And to me, in a place where there's rules about being disrespectful and certain things like that, it's now a situation where it made me uncomfortable, right? Like I'm like it's like it bothered. Like I'm losing sleep. Like I said, I've brought it up in therapy. Like somebody's come at me. Like I feel like you see what I'm saying? So to me, for you to not take the initiative to keep these teams away from each other, if at that point it seems as simple to me as like you said, there's 60 motherfuckers in the Fed, put in another name from any of those 60 names that's not these two names. That doesn't seem like a lot to ask. So then when I've already explicitly asked for that, and then as soon as I'm booked on Turmoil, my very first match after I passed my F.P.R test, put me in a match with Mystico. When Jay's just come at me for not writing, right? That's where I'm at with that. I'm like, this is bad decision. So then he tells me you did it, and now I want to address how I really feel. I was told Damian and Bourne and Mystico are about to be our new tag champions.
Oh no, they're contenders.
It didn't seem like he was disciplined. It seemed he was rewarded with the. He told me to sign it up to whatever. So again,
they're contenders. And we actually had the conversation.
Sounded like you did something totally inappropriate. Here's a title shot. Sounds like he stepped over the line as far as illegal questions, things we don't talk about, things that you shouldn't subject people in 2019. And we didn't have to talk about that, but I criticized OCW's booking, and that absolutely had to be addressed. So,
well, remember,
as far as
I didn't want to bring up any personal. I didn't want to bring up anybody's personal info on the stream. That's the issue. I'm not gonna.
No, I feel you. I feel you on that. But do you see where I'm coming from? It's like we're also. I commented about the match, but we don't have to talk.
Let's also fast forward to the discussion yesterday, where we spoke, and you were like, "Oh yeah, that does make sense." And then you, hold on, what did you say?
Yeah, and I said we can kill it. Yeah, I said I'll work with it.
Yeah, so we kind of just went around in circles. I mean, I get what you're saying, but you also have to put into the context of things.
And
how do I say this in a polite way? Because I'm not trying to be a dick, and it's gonna sound like I'm gonna be a dick, and I don't want to sound like a dick. But I know you mentioned your issues, and I respect that. That's cool. I have my own issues for the most part. Antisocial is one of them. That's fine. I'm not trying to do a therapy off, if you will.
Sure.
But the thing is, all right, I get, fuck bone, whatever. That's fine at that point. At that point, but like, I don't give a fuck. That's the thing. Like, okay, that sucks, but then you just. I don't know how to express it without sounding like an asshole.
If we look at let's look at it from this point of view. So, if it's making you like ill, like if it is making you lose sleep or whatever, then OCW will, and like we don't have a HR department because we're not a real company, but people will respect the fact that there are issues and stuff because we all live in the same world where everyone's aware that everyone has some sort of like there's a lot of mental health issues in the world, so everyone's aware of it. It's not like it's something new. It's not like it's stuff that people respect. So if you just kind of go, you know what, you attack this, I don't like it, and that's the reason, then you don't even have to. In fact, what am I saying? I've gone. You don't need to justify it. Just say I'm not working with them because of a personal reason. That's it, and there should be no more comeback from that. Obviously, in this case, Jay has booked it and kind of ham-fisted it to kind of go, well, there you go, have another guy. But at the end of the day, it's not. I don't think there's anything. There's nothing malicious in it. There's nothing. It's just Jay trying to make, or Jay and Notorious or whoever's booking on Turmoil try and make.
I mean, Cass brought up a funny thing. You booked Cass versus Tank, knowing there was issues.
What?
I
didn't book Cass versus Tank.
Well, somebody did. You said you did, but whatever.
So we should add some more context, right?
I think I don't think we don't need to add any more context. We know that there's issues with the dummy and whatever. He wasn't rewarded for an asshole.
You 100% did.
Oh my god.
Thank you, guys. Fuck, now I lost my train of thought.
I didn't book that much.
On your shitty third show.
I didn't book that much.
So you were trying to talk about how I let it go. The reason I let it go was, like I said, I was disappointed that I felt alienated from my group. And it felt like ultimately my issues with one person were going to cost me my enjoyment of OCW.
So let me ask you a question though. Was that in with the context of a conversation that happened yesterday, while you had the same? Because it's more or less the same time frame.
Yes, that's because you and I had the conversation, and when you and I had that conversation, for those who don't know, that is after I sent that message again to the booker. He sent me to Jay. Jay and I started to talk this out. I realized, okay. Again, like when I had
but mind you, the point I was making. I'm sorry to cut you off. The point I was making is that if you're talking about tag stuff, there's really not a lot of tags on Turmoil.
Exactly. So
eventually you would have to, eventually if you want to get anywhere in that thing, you would have to interact because there's just not that many people. So
exactly.
I'm not here to tell you how to deal with somebody who's been making you fucking banana sandwiches, and I can do better to make sure that doesn't happen. But to say that he was rewarded for being a fuck face is kind of disingenuous, because again, it's not that
I'm not saying he was rewarded for being I did say that, but I didn't mean.
I'm not trying to be fucked up about your situation, but it's like I got 60 motherfuckers I gotta worry about as well. So if you don't like that guy, that's fine. I'll just make sure it won't happen. But now I know that not to include the fucking little Mexican dude with the light bulb head as well. Now I know that enough as anybody else, which is fine. But again, the reason that was made, and I don't want to keep repeating myself because I'm like I am, is because that's somebody I know who will get a fucking match done and will put in a good match that's not shitty. That's the only reason.
And I was
and he wasn't shithead.
And I have no problem admitting I was under the wrong impression about the size of the OCW roster and how many tag teams there were for us to work with. I was under the impression there was plenty of them, and that was sort of my thing, was just book us with a different team. So number one, you helped me change that because you kind of schooled me to the reality there's not a whole lot of teams for y'all to work with, okay? The other thing was I was upset about the fact that I felt the situation alienated from my group of friends. Once I decided to start doing DMs in that group, I buried my history with Damien so that I could do DMs in peace, if that makes sense.
If his fucking name gets repeated one more time,
that did not.
Don't.
To a wall. I hate his name already.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Not your name.
DB.
That still to me was like, don't throw me into too close. It was just like I have to deal with that. So when you and I had the conversation yesterday, I basically realized, if I can't get past this, it could be detrimental to Skeleton, to T.Y. Sparks, and Alex Asher as well.
Not
and I'm
really.
putting them. Well, that's what I felt, right? And I felt like, plus they like playing with that group, right? If you don't know the group I'm talking about, I do DMs. It's frequently DB, Mystico, Regal, myself, Alex Asher, and T.Y. Sparks.
That's the other thing too. It's not overly political. That like I don't like. That was the other thing too. Like if you have issue with them, fine. Just keep you away from them. That's fine. I don't give a fuck. But to put everybody against, that was the issue.
Yeah.
So I don't want to keep revisiting because I feel like we're talking in circles, and I feel like.
Well, yeah, I just didn't want to sound like a hypocrite because everyone's like, "Oh, now we know," and I'm actually saying, no. Jay and I actually, as of yesterday, I told Jay he could book us against them, and that it was fine, and that we'll just let it go. But so I don't want people to hear this or to see us booked in the match later and go, "Wait, I thought we all established."
No, don't worry about what those fuckers
Trust
think.
me, these fucking mongrels don't care. That's what
yeah,
I'm
like
saying.
literally.
Don't think too deep. You need to. Here's a bit of advice from me. Don't think too deep into a lot of shit. And if you have a question, I'll tell you. If you do something stupid and I have to punish you, I'll let you know why I'm punishing you. I've done it to people. I've done it to people last season. I told them, hey, we're doing this. This is why. If you come out of it looking good, cool. If not, it is what it is. Because you fucked up, and that's what you got. You got to pay the piper. That's it.
Fundamentally, always remember that OCW is a hobby.
Tell you. Yeah, exactly.
It's always a hobby. Don't treat it like a job. If you're not having fun, then address the reason that you're not having fun. If it was you don't want to work with Damien, then that's the reason you're not going to have fun. So don't feel like you're ever being forced into anything. Just open your face. Because if you communicate, like every single time, if you let somebody know, then things can be worked around. We're all working together to make a cool product at the end of the day. That's what I've been trying to impart. Like,
I was just trying to say that when Jay says, like I can't, like that's why I was so inflammatory.
Yeah,
what I said.
That makes sense.
I had made him absolutely aware. I had absolutely made that request. I did make it known. It seemed like a lazy move. Like that was, you know what I mean? I understand now what actually happened. But again, let's talk like just to get back to somewhere productive, right? Jay, the question for you is, what can we do? Because this is my real question. What can we do to help you? Like, what can we do to make it so, like, for instance, like, I do think it's crazy that I don't know who's booking me. Or it's not that I don't know who's booking me. It's that we had a conversation when I was sent to you before, and I thought you booked things. You told me somebody booked, was the OCW turmoil booker. I went to the turmoil booker, and then it turned out you booked things. So that's like whatever, right? Who cares? That's like no big deal.
That's because fucking Austin's a stupid ass. He probably just meant that, because what'll happen, like I said, I'll change matches, but if there's a specific match, he'll let you know if it was changed, if he did it or if someone else did it. That's basically it. And it's only gonna be me or him on turmoil, and then on Riot it's Dupree and me, depending. Basically, like I said, the breakdown is the following. There's a card. If there's a change, I'll make a change, and that's it. But generally, people don't say, "Oh, why is this or why is that?" They'll be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like 2 matches had to be fixed like this week because of timing issues, and they were fixed, but the card wasn't updated. But the matches are going to be taking place tomorrow because the replacements were done. It's it's a well-oiled machine, but then it's not because there's still people behind the helm.
So to me, something like a staff page, like just
we had one, and they should be listing the handbook. If it's not, I can update it. It's actually one of the pins in Discord, but again, it's all discombobulated. So I can understand why some people might not know, what is what. I'm aware of that. There's so much to cover, a lot of ground, and so we don't repeat ourselves. Your last question was basically, what can we do to help me? The thing with that is,
he doesn't need anyone. He doesn't want anyone's help. He likes to do everything himself. This is something that we've been going over for 15 years now. Is Jay, for better or worse, Jay is a control freak of every single facet, which is a really good thing because it means that nothing slips through. But
not every single facet.
Pretty much every facet.
Here, I'll give you an example. The stupid ass commentary was supposed to be done, right? It was given to somebody on Monday. They couldn't do it, and at the very last minute, they gave someone told me, "Oh man, there's no commentary." So what the fuck did I have to do? I had to fucking sit my ass at 11:30 in the fucking night and yell into a microphone, half asleep, while putting up that goddamn monstrosity of a fucking show on Thursday. So that's why when people say, "Oh, what can I do to help?" You can fuck off, because that's the reason. Because people say, "Oh, I want to do stuff, I want to do stuff, I want to do stuff, I want to do stuff." Okay, then do it. Okay. And
So
then
the
they'll-
Yeah, it's
historically,
hard. Like I wanted to do commentary, right? And then you and I even had some pretty productive conversations about it. And then I just realized, holy shit, I by the history and stuff. That's where
if you
You
do,
would-
that's why I told you, because basically here's my take. My take is you like OCW, but you're not familiar with the product, for either
Right.
because the site is confusing or you don't have time. I don't fucking know the reason why. So
Well,
it's
both.
really difficult for me to take someone seriously. Like, I love this so much. Cool, great. And then I ask you a question, huh? Like, for example, I make fun of Court every fucking day. Every fucking day, because he mentioned that he doesn't read everything or he takes his time, and I'm like, you don't know shit. And so now he tries to read everything and tries to do, he tries his best. And basically, it is what it is, and I don't fault him for it. I don't expect everybody to fucking know every nuance of OCW, because that is impossible, because there's so much shit to do. I recommend for people to just, hey, interact. For example, Benji got prodded to fucking talk, and now he comments every now and again on the fucking show. Justin Jess, if you may know him or not, he does reviews. Of course, does reviews. Flojo may do a review. Drago does a review. Like, you don't have to sit there, watch an entire fucking show and review it. You don't have to do that. Find something you like, talk about it. Find something you don't like, talk about it. Thrace fucking shit on a bunch of role plays. It's fine. People are entitled to their opinion. I like discussion. I like discourse. But when a rookie shows up and they don't do shit, or I don't see them doing anything, whether it's be interacting on the forum, whether it be on the Discord, whether it be, anything else in the Twitch stream, like, it's like, okay, what the fuck? So if people want to help, if people want to do stuff, watch a show, watch what you like, or, if you're a rookie and you want to F.P.R, watch a main event match.
So
Have
it's
questions.
No, I'm just talking about things that end up being like logistical stuff. So my point was to say, when I started to talk to talent about that, I actually was discouraged in that, because I was basically told that you do all the commentary for every show, which
That's if
Hey,
again.
that's
what
out
the
of
devil's
necessity.
right,
That's out of
that's-
necessity more than it's out of anything else. Because
yeah, again, and there's an opportunity. I could do and I realized again I could just do that, but it took me a while to realize that I could even maybe do something like that, because again, it was hard to actually come to an understanding of what the real picture.
Here, I'll give you an example. My
Pause.
thing is, if I can't hi Cass, if I
I'm
can't
back.
trust somebody, go away or be quiet. If I
No,
can't
no,
trust
no, hold
somebody-
on.
What's up?
I'm gonna go backwards a little bit on all you guys for a sec here.
I don't want you to go back.
Roll call thread, the
Yes.
roll call link. Both brands have everything listed. Mr. Sensation owner, Mr. Sensation general manager of Riot, Tiberius Dupree, Booker, me, Casada, PS4 tab.
it still takes 3 clicks to get there, though.
Owner,
Thank you.
Nate
I was
Ortiz,
just-
general manager. It's still there.
But no,
And
Yeah.
listen,
you have to post there to get booked. So you do have to go there regardlessly.
That's not the point, though. That's insider. I'm glad you brought that up. That's insider ball. That is thinking, okay, as OCW people, the information is there somewhere for OCW people to find it. To help the Fed grow, it needs to be presented so that it's easy for the public to find it and understand it, so that you can understand these things and we look polished and organized before you even.
But it's not even
join.
public knowledge, because before you join, you can't even see it. So it doesn't have to be public knowledge unless Jay opens up and stops really shelling the place because he doesn't want certain people here.
It makes sense to have it behind closed doors, from the sense that you only need the contact information if you're here, but a bit of visibility for actually knowing who to go to. Because even if you're a fan, like, even if you just want to come and watch stuff, maybe you want to discuss it with whoever. Maybe you want to talk to Jay and be like, yo, maybe I want to do something, but I don't know. So let me talk to Jay and find out.
Also, again, we just got to start. Again, I've been doing this for a while, and I do a lot of multimedia for people. It's just stuff I do for a living, part of my living. I've been doing my whole life. You can't market something that way. Part of what makes something appealing is to see its strength. When you see a staff page and you go, damn, and you see, oh, here's our PS4 staff, here's our Xbox One staff, even just a few people, you go, man, these guys are organized. This is for real. When
You
can't
did
see
used
that,
to have it.
it's just another tick that we could have to add our value that we don't have. And then when you have to know stuff like, why would I have to go to the roll call to find the staff? I am glad it's there. It's cool that it's there, and maybe it should always be there because it makes the roll call better to have it listed right there. But that's not an immediate connection that the staff is listed on the roll call page, right? And it's just another thing that if you're in OCW, everybody knows that, but that's just not the way the world works in 2019. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna just start calling it insider baseball when stuff like that happens.
It does make sense from a user experience point of view, because obviously, again, that's something that I do in real life, not just here. But it takes 3 clicks to get to where you need to be. Then it's too many clicks.
And I'm gonna tell you something, like the same thing with like web design, above the fold. If what I'm looking for isn't above the fold, sort of in the whole newspaper, think of paper, right? If I gotta scroll down a page, you're losing me. This is stuff that is internet marketing 101. And when you go to OCW and it just looks jumbled and then you have these conversations. You seek out the people, you ask the president, and you get stuff like, well, it's in the Discord, or well, it's over here, or shouldn't you know, and you shouldn't go to this page, you click 3 times, snap your fingers, and tap your toes 4 times, and it pops right up. That is creating a barrier to the information, and it takes people who know that this is for them to be motivated enough to go through that. And we just live in an era where now it's like, if it's not easy, then the people who do it aren't serious enough about it to make this easy. And I know that's not
Jay doesn't want,
but that's the perception that people will get, because that's just what we're saying to them visually. It's not the truth, of course. It's not what we're saying to them personally, but it's the user experience.
It makes sense. I mean, we have been talking about the user experience for a long time now. But Jay, you're doing something about that anyway, because you're looking into new websites and stuff.
I told Jay to combine random chat and backstage area forever because of the same thing.
No? Yes?
Yes, motherfucker.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
saving the money on the Patreon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because Cash showed the fuck up. God
Cool.
damn it.
Clear him out of it. We've got about a minute left of this recording, so let's go back into the recording.
Yeah, so, there's a minute left. Fuck it. Wrap it up. Let's
More
wrap it
about
up,
this
boys.
recording? Okay.
Wrap it
Yeah.
up.
Just like being in a real Fed, as a talent, you have to protect yourself. Like, you got to remember, the bookers cared about booking whatever he thinks is going to work. Jay's off doing his own thing. All the other talent trying to get themselves over. If you want to have a meaningful run, then you need to make that your business, because you certainly can't just sit back and think they're going to book you in a strategic way like you would book you. To show some care, right? Like if I had the Prince of Flight on my hand, for instance, I got this hot guy. He's like fucking. He's a great hand at the game. He's got a great looking character. He's in a group. He's
Skeleton.
It's Sparks.
really active. They'll fuck around and just say, oh well, let's just feed him to Drago. He's a light heavyweight. Let's just feed him to Drago, right? And then you'll lose a match to Drago with no promos, and then before anybody has a chance to care about T.Y. Sparks, they're already kind of told that they shouldn't. You're supposed to, debut him against another rookie, give him a chance to shine.
Let me pause it there. The reason we don't debut against rookies is because rookies are, like we discussed earlier, generally unreliable. So you put 2 rookies against each other, you're not getting a match. Sometimes you will, but 9 times out of 10 you won't.
What's the other one?
You book against a vet.
Together? No, when you book 2 rookies together.
Oh, they don't know F.P.R, so they just destroy each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it looks like hot garbage. And then the fact about, we're just going to book you against Drago. You asked for that match to get booked. See, the what you call it, what the fuck is the word? I'm
Invitational.
No. The thing about we're just gonna book him against Drago because he's light heavy. That's stupid. That doesn't happen. But the inference, I'll say the inference is we're just gonna fucking bury him because he's a fucking rookie. No, not at all.
No,
what happened?
No, you'll get you. If you ask to fight Drago, then you're an idiot at this point.
If you want to fight Drago, you by all means you can fight Drago. That we can definitely just get that out the way. But the fact that we're gonna put a rookie against Drago.
No. My inference wasn't trying to say that you are going to try to bury somebody by putting them up.
It was that you're wasting your time by.
It was just like we said before, like you said time and time again, until you prove to me I should give a shit, I don't give a shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sure. So you don't. That's so you just made my point for me. Since you don't give a shit, you don't protect their booking. You don't think about it. So my point is just that they're not thinking about it, period. Not that they're trying to bury you. They're just not trying to bury you. They're not trying to put you over.
That's true. It's like Drago needs a fight.
So they're just going to put, exactly. So it's just like if Drago needs a fight, put him up against somebody, right? Or so my point was just that if you if you know more or you think more, then you've got to put that into it, or you've got to be proactive about that, because you can end up, and it's not because, and again, I tried to make that clear. I said the Booker's just trying to do what he thinks is going to make his show work. Jay is just trying to run the Fed. He's got a gazillion things on his mind. He's not going to care about your one little match. I'm saying exactly what you said, right? All I'm saying is, as a talent, if you care or that matters to you, you want to think about those things. Because I don't care. You can't tell me that they can keep having Cassius Ohno lose in 30 seconds and I'm gonna give a shit about him next year. No, they buried him in 2019. I don't give a fuck what he does in 2019, and that's just what it is. And
see, when it comes to like stuff like that with booking, that's the other thing too, where there's too much of a thought about it winning alone. One of the guys you don't know about, Guy Fausto, he got murdered for fucking months, and people didn't give a shit. They didn't care. And this was back in the day when the game had you could different moves to different damages. So we had a rule like, hey, you can only have X amount of like 116 or one whatever. There was, and everybody you fought was 10s and 16s or whatever. And his was 2s and 4s. So one day he came and he was like, oh man, I'm getting my ass kicked out. I was like, maybe try some, maybe update your moveset a little bit. Maybe put a couple 10s, maybe a couple 12s. So he fought like the number 2 guy, who was pretty cheesy at the time, because remember, OCW used to be a fucking Shark Tank. He fought the number 2 guy, and he didn't win, but basically he got in the number 2 guy's ass to the point where the guy did like he did a sub finisher ASAP. He was like, oh my god, sub. And then we looked at that, and I'm like, that might be what like, you're good at the game, you just handicapped yourself. And even when he was looking, nobody really gave a shit, but as soon as he got his shit together, people gave a shit. So it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you end up. Everybody has a different fucking story in OCW, so like, it doesn't matter if you're getting raffle stomped every so. Look at Court Martial got raffle stomped, and now look at him. Everybody takes an L, so it shouldn't discourage you if you're taking a couple L's out the gate. Even if you're writing, it's okay, it happens. That's the thing. Like, we don't really look to protect talent. Like, oh, don't put these guys together because he's gonna get his ass kicked. Oh, don't do that. We don't do that. We just say, hey, might work, cool.
Your first few weeks and months in OCW is kind of proving yourself, but not on the game. It's proving yourself, showing up and doing what's the perception of what you're supposed to do. So making your character matter. We kind of give you the nobody cares about your win or loss ratio when you're new, when you're through the door. So sure. You're given the leeway to kind of do something, and then when you start picking up steam with your character, then people will start going, oh, can he beat this person? Can he beat this person? And it's kind of natural. Like, think of your first few weeks or months like being in NXT. It matters, but it doesn't really matter. It's different to what's going to happen on the main roster. So even though you're there and you're competing, you're just kind of showing yourself off at that point. Show off your moveset, show off what you can write, like, show off video, show everything off. Because it doesn't matter, wins or losses. It just doesn't when you get there.
So part of what you got to remember, right, is I'm like, sounds like you and definitely know Jason is part of it is we're content creators, right?
Yeah.
So part of what I try to do on my channel is just spew about the accumulated, professional wrestling wisdom I have from all my years, right? Though we all, and so that was sort of my thinking. Again, to me, it's just wrestling. I get it. I know that having your character completely worked out before you start isn't always necessary, right? And you don't need to be booked to the moon and all that kind of stuff. My point is just, I think people should be mindful about those things. In other words, I take this kind of seriously, right? This is kind of my little taste of the wrestling business, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of fun. That's kind of the fun part of it. So that was more my point. I was just trying to, and again, I think in my mind, I'm talking to people who are not even have graduated high school yet, right? And people who are not that experienced with OCW, and I'm kind of trying to explain a little bit of how we see this business, and that's what I'm getting at. It's just, there's a lot going on at the Fed, and you want to just be really mindful of what you do. I don't expect OCW to protect people. I wouldn't even want that. I don't even think that would be that beneficial. I'm just trying to make the point that, given that, who the fuck else is going to mind your shot?
Yeah.
And if you happen to wash out of the system, or we don't care, or whatever. And like you said, those things can handicap you. Can you get over without doing promos? Probably, but it'll be hard. Can you get over without winning? Sure, but it'll be harder. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So
everybody
that's
has a
all I'm
different
saying.
trajectory.
Yeah.
Every single person has a different trajectory.
Also, this is going to sound, I don't know what the PS4 side's like, but on the Xbox side, Quartz has attached himself to guys that have got maybe 50, 60 years OCW experience combined. So you haven't got that on the PS4 side. And this, I don't know how it actually is over there, because there are a few guys that have been here forever, Aries, Trans, Lee, etc. But when they come in, they have a different, almost different people to kind of look up to, because on the Xbox side it's very defined how we want you to do stuff. I don't know that that's the case on the PS4 side, and I don't know if that's, I don't know, because I don't live it myself. But on the Xbox side, if a rookie comes in, we fuck about with them, we banter with them, we test them, and if they stay, then they stay. If they don't, then we don't care about them. And it's kind of like, it isn't that we don't care about them out the gate. We're more than welcome to invite them in and kind of work with them and see how they are. Like, we'll all play with you. We'll all play with whoever's new. So I don't know if they've got the same kind of thing on OCW. I just
PS4
don't.
side honestly has been really dope. Honestly, I said this to Jay. I have never, other than situations we've already talked about, I've never had it so much as a crossword with the OCW talent. And I've never had unpleasant DM experience. Every DM I've done has been fun. People on my channel enjoy watching the matches. I was talking about F.P.R. making the matches, getting rid of the cheese, but also making the matches look more serious and more like the televised product. And yeah, everybody's been fantastic.
And what I would say to you is, like, well, we've got like 30 seconds left of this, so we'll ignore that.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to just reach out to people. Anybody on the right, anybody that's got a yellow name, what I'll say to you, anybody that's got a yellow name has been there, done it, seen it, done everything. And there isn't an arsehole with a yellow name. There's one, but he doesn't work here anymore. We don't talk to him anymore. But everyone else will...
Chance is kind of an asshole.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he'll probably help you. I don't fucking know. Sometimes he's helpful, sometimes he's not. It depends what day you get him on. But if you ever have, even if it's something stupid, even if it's something, I've done this colour attire, but I don't know if I like it. What do you think of it? People have that expertise, and it sounds stupid because we've worked it's because we've been entrenched in it. Like, this sounds stupid, but for 2012 to 2015, I didn't care about my real job. All I cared about was OCW, and it took over me, and everything that I did was for OCW. And I learned things. I learned to be better at Photoshop. I learned After Effects. I learned Premiere Pro. I learned all this stuff just to use it on OCW. And we all did that to an extent. We've all taught ourselves these stupid things. So if anything that you think that you're not sure about, ask a question of a guy with a gold name. Even guys with blue names, but definitely guys with gold names, because they've been there, seen it, done it. They can help you with anything. And
so you get ribbed on once in a while, and sometimes people send you on wild goose chases. Like, I forget, I was trying to find the official trainer for a long time because somebody made a joke about Trainer Bob something like that. But no, I've had that. That's been my experience, man. I've been able to just ask people anything, and almost without regard to who I'm asking. Right? It's just kind of like, oh, you're an OCW. I can ask you.
Yeah, there's nobody really
people
that
have generally been super.
I can't think of I can think of the last time we had a true asshole in our midst, but it was last year.
Fucking Discord chat is full of true assholes.
No, it's not. No, it's not, because if you PM any of those people, they get nice real quick. They get nice really, really quick. It's all bravado. There's nobody apart from Cass. Borderline. Cass is a piece of shit sometimes, but his heart's in the right place.
Cass is on the spectrum.
Everyone on OCW is on the spectrum. You can't. Don't act like pretending to be a wrestler on a website is a normal thing to do.
Oh no,
it's not.
If I can give some parting lights right before we fucking wrap it up, because we need to wrap it up.
Sure.
You said you take this shit seriously. Don't take it that seriously, because
no, do to an extent, but don't take the personal side seriously.
Yeah, because I've been doing this for 14 fucking years, and yeah, that's why I don't take everything seriously. I don't, because it's no fucking point. That's why I'm very, lackadaisical because it's not good to my fucking health to be putting up with stupidity. That's why I'm very like, oh, you don't like that person? Okay, fuck you. You want to do this? Okay, fuck you. I can't because I'm not gonna. The only reason that we're doing this right now is because like, hey, check that out. And I felt as though I needed to address it, even though it's good because it's a teachable moment. Like, I'm aware of our shortcomings, but I'm also aware of what's been built and the community has been built. And, you know, that's basically why I still do what the fuck I do. And, hold up, Discord is mean. Also, Jay, I'll take away your snack. Yeah, it's, you know, you're right. But I'm mean to an extent. I mean if people are mean to me. But, again, I don't really care what anyone says to me on this fucking site because if that was the case, then I wouldn't even be doing it. I really don't give, like, people can't say shit to me.
So no, I try not to take myself too seriously, but I
sound like you did, bro.
Because no, you got to remember. So let me get this too. A big part of that whole thing for me is, again, like you, I'm a streamer and I stream every day. I'm a daily streamer. I'm a variety streamer. I stream for very long hours. I stream sometimes 8 to 10 hours in a day, but almost always at least 4 or 6. So I have to be mindful of the experience I'm having and also the experience I'm having for my audience. And there's just a camera in my face all day, every day. And so I have to be careful because people in my chat noticing I'm being triggered and making comments and saying, hey, why, you know what I mean? So like when stuff like that happens, you got to kind of deal with it. But also I take it seriously because, like I said, I wanted to start something like this. And I put a lot of time into a lot of the stuff you don't see my OCW activity, but a lot of that is I'm putting time into LSCW because I see it's something that's helping OCW grow. And I think actually is helping people have that bridge into the culture that I didn't have, right? And I already see people taking advantage of it. Even during this broadcast, during this podcast, Matt, another one of my mods, and blowing up, tell them, you know, I'm only like 11. As soon as I turn 16, I want to join OCW. Like people the same way.
Are you trying to usurp me?
No, I literally, like real talk. Dude. Like I looked at you and said, here's another young brother as your, and he's taking it way farther, right? So help him. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, why would I want to restart what you've built? I just want to be like, yo, let's take it somewhere. Let's just go with this. I thought you did this professionally. I think you should make a living at this. Like
ain't nobody paying for this shit.
You want to help? Go sign to the Patreon.
Right.
$9.99.
We still
no, seriously. But the point I really was trying to make though is that I take that serious. You know what I mean? Like trying to help this Fed grow, and all that's been super fun, and it's been happening. So I'm excited. Like again, I haven't even had the time to do all of those things that I want to do to help it. And it's already growing. Like that's so humbling to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like something's working before you even put time into working it. You feel me?
Sure. Like I ain't young, I'm old.
So old. He's the oldest man.
Yeah, almost old, super old. Anyway, so that is going to do it for us. I hope that thank you for everybody like fucking hanging in there because it's been going up and down and all around. So
people have been embracing it. People have been talking to us. It's been nice. The strange thing.
I've been watching my Twitch chat. I think if I was watching it,
change your pace. Yeah, you're watching your Twitch chat. You're not watching my Twitch chat. It's a change of pace. It's nice. Not sure if we'll be doing these every Monday because I need sneaky style. Yeah.
I could do these on Mondays.
Yeah. I mean, no, you can't because you're actually like 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Do I only get to be on these if I'm in trouble? Can I?
You just rile Jay up on a Sunday. Rile Jay up on Sunday, and you'll show up on Monday.
Yeah. The only way people get on these is if they piss me off or if they talk about content like what's his face, Jake and Adam did content. So I mean, it wasn't a Twitch stream, but it was a YouTube video. That's my thing. If people have content, feel free to submit it. As long as it doesn't break like other Adam, the original white Adam, his shit when he was in a fucking podcast, it didn't work. That's you all Helm, you dummy. Other than that, if the stuff works, I'm fine. I don't care.
But Jay, I want to come. I would love to come back and talk about like the other stuff. I would love the chance to talk about like LSTW on OCW and like
Lord,
that would be
shilling.
No, because I
trying to usurp and shit at the same time.
Joe shilling.
I actually really think that this is like I think OCW is the tip of the iceberg, and I think we're like this whole thing. I think you've created something so much bigger than you realize, and that this
You
whole
say that,
idea,
but there's other people don't care about this. They care about sim stuff, but that's a topic for another day. Because remember, I've been talking to people in the sim community, which you can find on the OCW YouTube on OCWFedTV. So it's a whole big thing. We are literally a shit stain on the highway of life, and I'm aware of that, and I'm fine with that until we get a little bit bigger. So if you want to help support OCW, if you want to help everything, if you want to, you know what, spread the word, retweet, like shit, go to the Instagram page, which fuckface runs, share on YouTube, like on YouTube, thumbs up, all that good shit. Put it on what you call it on I guess you only hold Facebook, all that good stuff. Do that. That's
Club Penguin. Is it on Club Penguin?
What's the other Club Penguin? What's the other one?
Habba Hotel.
Habba Hotel. What's the one that Chinese people use?
Asia. I don't fucking know.
No, you know what I'm talking about. That fuck Weibo, whatever, some shit. Weibo. Put it on Weibo as well.
Okay, cool.
That's how you help. So, thank you, Keith. Thank you, Danny Boy. Thank you, OCW,
so
for
much.
watching.
Can I plug my stuff on Pocket Locker?
Plug it. Yeah, plug it.
On Twitch and Discord, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. But Keith Hendrix, happy to be here, and thanks so much for having me on your podcast.
Dan, would you like to plug your shit?
House of Hoot, everything. HAUSOFHOOT. There's not a .com. There is a .com.
There is a .com. Houseofhoot.com.
Yeah.
We'll be giving away an Ambition T-shirt because I've been fucking nominated to buy.
Paid by Jay. The first time that Jay has ever given anything to us out of his own pocket.
For one lucky fucking person, they get a free T-shirt.
So Ambition's week, first week of February is when that's going to be on live.
You need to explain that contest because I don't know how that contest works. But
what
anyway,
the contest? You just
point.
be in the chat on the day that Ambition airs. Say a word and then we'll work something out. Thank you.
We'll figure
bye.
out how to work out the raffle and get it that. Yeah, and you can catch us at OCWFed.com, at OCWFed, and YouTube.com/OCWFedTV. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay, cool. Bye.